Yes. Game is going up. I'm having a little trouble with the browser. Oh, there we go. So thank you all for being rather patient with me tonight. It's about 2 hours away from where I normally wanted to start streaming, and the fault is entirely mine. I wanted to try and get a bit of a nap because it was not the easiest day, but I didn't have any mechanism to get myself back up, so I'm feeling very cloudy, but we'll get through it. And I'm really looking forward. One of the things that will get me out of bed for sure is a chance to play Phantom Brigade. So, welcome to the Brigade. We are excited for you to experience Phantom Brigade and to have help shaping its development during the early access period. During the course of development, some aspects of the game might feel rough, sparse, or buggy. Every month we'll release a major update, which will include bug fixes, new features, and quality of life improvements for players. We appreciate your patience and feedback throughout this process as we work to deliver the most important features and fixes. From the main menu, check out our early access roadmap to see what's coming next for Phantom Brigade. Reach out to us via the Brace Yourself Games Discord, and unfortunately I ran out of time on reading the rest of these, but this one is probably a little more important. A very small percentage of people may experience a seizure when exposed to certain visual images, including flashing lights or visual patterns. These seizures may have a variety of symptoms, including lightheadedness, altered vision, eye or face twitching, jerking, or shaking of arms or legs, disorientation, confusion, or momentary loss of awareness. Immediately stop playing and consult a doctor. Brian! Thank you, you handsome devil. I thought you were following already, but I appreciate it nonetheless. I hope you're not still at work. Or if you're still at work, you're doing so for voluntary and really good reasons. Actually, let me just take a second. I do want to talk about the seizure stuff. But for those of you that don't know Brian, immediately stop playing and consult a doctor if you experience any of these symptoms. If you or any of your relatives have a history of seizures or epilepsy, it is recommended that you consult a doctor before playing. And as much as I would love to have you all for streaming, if you think that might apply to you, as far as I know, it's still the same for a broadcast. So please take care of yourselves. I would much rather you enjoy your games in safety rather than get a marginal improvement to my concurrent viewers. Now, I'll probably do this later on in the stream when there's something of a pulse as well, but Brian on the Rocks is a very talented developer. In fact, I would say a very talented human being. He's got the whole living thing down very well. He breathes in, and here's the secret, he breathes out. He's actually quite capable of living and existing. But no, Brian is somebody who I met through a bar that he ran, EXP. Something I have very fond memories of, and it's where I got to meet a lot of people who I think some of you may know me through. Alex the Rambler was someone who I met. Brian did a wonderful job of building a community. I actually still have my membership for it in my pocket now. Unfortunately, we have outlived that wonderful place. But Brian, undaunted, has gone on to work at Apex in Vancouver. He, of course, has plenty of game development experience. In fact, if you check out his Twitter, which I believe is also twitter.com/BrianAtTheRocks, you can see sort of his proper list of things. But what has been really rewarding for me lately, in addition to the fact that I just get to see Brian again and be infected by his positivity, I think some of you who see me in chat know that I play a very different character than who I do on Twitch. It's, the nice guy act I can really only sustain 3 times a week. But Brian has been sharing the experience of playing Apex Legend. His enthusiasm for this game is so infectious that I've not only actually started playing Apex more, not too much. There's only so many hours in the day, sadly, and my job isn't quite as closely tied to gaming, and so it's hard to justify some of those hours. But in any case, Brian's enthusiasm for the game is very infectious. He does a really good job. He's actually one of the great examples. I personally get very frustrated when I see how gamers, and particularly gamers for very popular titles, will behave and treat developers. And it is something that Brian does a very good job of mitigating and turning into a positive. In fact, today I got one of the... there's a video that I get that inevitably gets nasty comments, and I literally got another one before I broadcasted it. Went from my enthusiasm was at the top, and then like it just went down an immediate 25%. And it's a tough one for me. It's something that I work on. And so I have to assume that when it's a game to the scale of Apex, and you're just seeing a litany of people who are, crapping on your work for the most unreasonable reasons, like, to me, I have to assume that can kind of get you down a bit. But Brian has a wonderful talent at being able to reframe those kinds of comments, to explain in very direct terms why things are the way that they are. He has a tremendous empathy, and so in addition to the fact that his stream is just a barrel of laughs, I know a number of you are interested in game development. Maybe some of you even want to get into the games industry, and while I don't know if Brian will give anything that you haven't heard before in terms of how to get a job in the games industry, he is somebody who's wonderful to watch, because you will be able to see someone who has worked on the thing that he's playing, talking about some of the ideas behind it, talking specifically about what motivates him as a designer and as a gamer. An incredibly generous individual, both with his time and his comments. And I honestly cannot think of a better ambassador for that game. So, in addition to the fact that he's got me back into Apex, I played Apex Legends exactly once before Brian was streaming. But on top of that, I've actually spent money on the Champion edition. So. He can justify his salary for whatever fraction of an hour I do. But anyways, Brian is Brian's a wonderful guy. I'm sorry to gush about it, but I really don't always get a chance to. I've hosted him. I've explained who he is for you guys. If you have not followed him on the basis of the host at the end of the stream, please check this guy out. There is a reason for that. And now you have more money. Yeah. Not to be outdone, by the way, we've got Night Valiant. I will talk about this game, and I will talk about the developers behind this game, but Night Valiant has been quite competently doing Final Fantasy VII, which I hear is a popular game. I've never played it. I don't even know if it really exists. I've never seen a box of Final Fantasy VII anywhere. Outer Wilds DLC. What? Oh god, I didn't even know. Do I get to destroy the galaxy again? Night Valiant I've met through playing some really wonderful puzzle games. Another supporter of Canadian developers, he was streaming Kitbox Games' Lucifer Within Us. I think he has a real talent when he does sort of puzzle and narrative-based games, because he's got a very soft voice. He's from Brazil. Not that Brazilians all have soft voices. I just happened to throw in that that incongruous fact immediately afterwards. But he's a nice Brazilian streamer. He's been building his cast, and from what I understand, a lot of you have been following along on his channel and giving him the support. So I appreciate that on your end. I'm assuming you're still doing Final Fantasy VII. It's what you were doing the last time I was in there. But he is a variety broadcaster. I'm sure a number of you will. Quite like his stuff. So I'm sorry to spend so much time, but again, Twitch is more than just a place where you go to watch games played. There's a community behind it. In this case, I've been very lucky to get to know more people inside of games. Brace yourself. It has been wonderful to get to know them a little bit better when they visit the stream. They've been very generous again with their time and attention, and of course a key for this game. So it is worth remembering, I was given a press key for this game for the sake of promoting it. I am no longer a member of the Epic Affiliate program. I really do thank all of you who participated with that. Epic, the Support a Creator program, is wonderful. They've actually already paid me, which is unlike another very famous publisher, which still has not actually given me all of the money that they said they owed me, but have definitely given me a tax form which said about they paid me about 4 times as much as they actually did. The good news is more people now know that this publisher and developer is absolutely awful. But Epic, for everything, one of the reasons I did take it down was I know that people have an issue with the Epic Store. Phantom Brigade is only available on the Epic Store. But honestly, every encounter I've had with them has been nothing but positive. And in the case of Phantom Brigade, if you are interested in this game, I highly recommend it. I like it a lot. It is important that you know that there is that interest in the background, in the sense that I was given a key to promote it, but I no longer have the financial incentive for people to pick it up. Oh God, Brian, if you want, man, you never would have known this story. I am not going to relitigate it on stream, but I've got stories, man. You might you might be interested. I mean, it's nothing that will affect you, but yeah, it was. I have an email chain which is something to behold. Anyways, we are currently enjoying the Arsenal 3 update for Phantom Brigade. I know I'm spending a lot of time loading in, but it is worth mentioning. Brace Yourself Games has built a really great community around this game. I please recommend that you check out the Discord server. The developers are in there constantly. They're interacting with the chat. You'll learn more about what's coming up inside of the game. But this is sort of the third and final patch in terms of all the cool new toys, which I was talking about way back when this game first came out. And of course, if you don't want to get it on the Epic Store, if you'd rather wait, this game does have a page on Steam, so you can wishlist it for when it comes out. If it's a question of storefront, please don't let that stop you from being able to enjoy this wonderful game. But for those of you wondering whether or not it's worth playing, your time has come. Sorry to front load all of the information. I actually still have dinner sitting beside me because I was scrambling all together to get things done, but like I said, there's nothing that will get me more excited. Sorry, someone very lovely sent me a message, and I need to let them know that I'm behind on streaming, and I will get back to them. Okay, you now have my undivided attention. So, Phantom Brigade. Where's my... Oh yes, that's right. We went across the capital. So we've liberated the one city here. In terms of the Arsenal update, there were a bunch of energy weapons that were added. Now, personally in my loadouts, I found they've made my mechs run a bit too hot. So it may not be something that I'm taking advantage of right away, but our current plan on the strategic map is to finish off this province and then move in on the capital. The reason why I'm doing this... You still want to see the return of the knife tank? The knife Roomba. I believe that has been patched out now, but there are still some funny bugs in terms of what equipment spawns. I never get them. Apparently, I was given the no bugs version of Phantom Brigade. So if you're asking for a version, ask for the no bugs version. Since game development sees, Brian's a talented guy. There's a reason not just anybody can work at Respawn, but sometimes you just got to make a game without bugs, and it's balanced, and then it's good, right? Anyways, the motivation behind taking out the districts is the description for the capital city is. Seat of power of occupation government can't be attacked conventionally due to the large concentrations of enemy forces. Only a well-executed strike against high command in the city core has a chance of having an effect. Infiltrating the city for such a mission would not be possible until every surrounding province is liberated. So it may be, when I went to the capital city, it seemed like it allowed us to go in, so I don't really know what this final battle is like. But I thought that based on the description, I would take each individual province. So now there is a convoy. These things are kind of tough because they tend to have lots of tanks. But I did say that we were gonna make something of it. So I always thought there was. I feel like there might be a model missing here. So this is very XCOM-ish in terms of the higher level. Oh, I just didn't have my scanners in range. So this is going to be a tough fight, but we live for tough fights. So a hostile squad is passing nearby. Our base is now within their sensor range, so moving would reveal our position. But we have the upper hand for now. If we're not prepared to face the enemy, we may be able to execute an emergency retreat, but now could be a good time to strike. So we'll suit up. This is a level 16 convoy. My lowest level mech is now a level 10. It used to be level 8. My highest level is now 13. So we are going to take a minute here and see if we can maybe improve a few of our mechs. I know some of the scrap I've been getting hasn't quite inspired me to greatness. So we've got a Vidar heavy. That might be good on my heavy. So burst SMG. Now that's actually kind of tempting for the... So I've got my... Actually, this is a lot like the Mozambique. So the blast heavy handgun, not bad. The damage per second is still a bit better on the SMG. And again, it's important to remember how I'm... So the way that I've built this, my assault rifle has got a range of 33 to 54, so my secondary weapon is sort of designed to... The reason why I have the secondary weapon that I do is this is my fastest unit out of all of my mechs, so it's also going to be likely to be in close range in certain circumstances. So this 18 to 37 distance really helps out. It complements my primary weapon, which is sort of my main damage dealer. The burst, on the other hand, is 33 to 66. The damage in volley is 595, so if all 10 bullets hit, they're going to, they're going to do the damage. But compare that, so we've got 798 for, sorry, we've got 595 compared to 798. So for my shotgun, that's not, or my blast, not really all that impressive by comparison. And then if I compare it to my burst, it's 678. So in this case, the SMG isn't a good replacement for my primary weapon, and it's not a good replacement for my secondary weapon. I will just take a quick minute here to see if there are any primaries that I've picked up. We do have the AR-1 standard, but it doesn't really inspire a whole lot. The base damage I don't think is as good. I do like the long range on it, but the duration really kills it. So, have you played Phantom Brigade out of curiosity, Brian? I don't know if it's your kind of thing, but it's a fellow Vancouver developer, and I am firmly of the belief that I may not be a practitioner, but I am super happy that so many really great games are made out of Canada. Oh man, this game, I really want to get into the tactical battles then, because this is definitely going to be something. This game has a very good sense of style. So let me go to my lance. So my lance is my big, beautiful bruiser. Look at that paint scheme. I did get some new shotguns, so we're currently working with the HS1. It does 1404 damage. Now, the firing range, like the time that it takes to fire is kind of slow. That's the only thing I'm really not all that happy with. But it's 2 shots. It does an absolutely unholy amount of damage. So it's kind of hard to replace this shotgun, but let's see what we've got, because we did get a number of heavy shotguns. So first of all, there's the HSO2 Heavy. So this thing does 1222 and it takes longer to fire. It also has a shorter range. So the only thing really going for this is the fact that it has 1 shot. So we're not doing that one. The blast, oh man, the blast is a beauty. 1.6, but only 1 shot. That's weird. Okay, I'm gonna leave it be for now. What about the semi? 4 shots. The damage in volleys, not bad. 1321. It's not as good as the 1404, and it has a longer optimal interval. So again, this isn't quite exciting me yet. That's a shame. We got so many shotguns, but they're not really quite giving me what I need. I've tried the plasma launcher before. They're definitely not. They're not bad weapons at all. Unfortunately, they don't quite work inside of my my loadouts here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly switch back to our different parts. So I just want to see, right now we're running a Helgi Heavy. We'll see if the Vidar can give us something a little bit better as far as protection. Right now it will give me less power and less mass. That's probably due, yeah. So I've got an overdrive core. Okay, so what I'm going to do for comparison here, I'm going to change the core to a standard. So of course customization's a huge deal in terms of mech games. So then there's the improved reactor. So what I'm trying to do here is just compare the... I'm just trying to compare like to like in terms of these loadouts. This is one thing that I think might be improved a little bit in terms of the game, and it feels like in quality of life they're going to be starting to work on this sort of stuff. But basically, I feel like I do a lot of steps to get these proper comparisons. You'll come by a bit later, partner, and Dargo to tend to at the moment. Oh, great, yeah. Sorry you got to see all the boring bits. Well, not boring, but like the load-up bits. Great. If I don't get a chance to see you before the stream is done, have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for stopping by, and we will catch up for sure. Okay, so we lose some barrier. The integrity is quite a bit better. So this is an overall more defensible body, and better heat dissipation and... Yeah, see, the problem with this one is that I suspect what will happen is my speed is going to go even lower. Oh god, yeah. All right. So let's find my old body and bring that thing back. This is why I color code my my parts. Is it really that? It can't be that low. Okay, let's go back to the loadout that I want. So an overdrive core and hydraulics. This is why I'm not that worried about some of the weights for my for some of my mechs. Actually, there is one thing I want to check before I go back to creation. I want to make sure this thing still counts as a heavy. Yeah. Okay, so I do still want to take a look at some upper bodies because all the upper bodies we got are big, heavy monsters. So the Nox gives me a boost to integrity. So again, we give up a little bit of barrier. A heat core, okay. And a passive heatsink. This one will probably wind up being an improvement. So let's I don't think I have a heat core for comparison, though. Okay, so I'll slap a standard core on this one, and then I'll have to... Well, no, I think I actually probably have enough that I can mess around. Oh, hang on, but this is an offensive subsystem, so there isn't a direct comparison to be made. Okay, I'll eyeball it. What do I get? What do I give up? The power concerns are not as big as they seem, because I have... I can put an overdrive core inside of it. And some of the problems with the overdrive core are... they're negated by the passive heatsink. The problem is the mass is still high. And we saw from the last one that just a little bit of mass is going to put that thing down to 10 and possibly lower. So this is definitely a candidate for switching, but I'm not quite at a point where I think I can afford to bring it on. So the last we have is the Helga. I feel like I've already evaluated this one as a possibility. It's got more integrity. Everything else is theoretically the same. Yeah, I should only focus on new parts, because I know I go through this just about every single time I play. So, final ones are just to check the arms and legs. The VDAR gives me a better integrity, worse mass, better heat dissipation. And unfortunately, it's an offensive subsystem on it, so... Oh man, that's a shame. This is really similar to my... So I'll show you what happens here. We go from 15 to 12.78. this is actually not a bad arm because of what it gives me. Because of what it gives me heat dissipation wise. Heat is a little bit of a problem for this mech, but again, I've made the rest of my squad so fast that I'm really struggling to try and find those extra tons to pack away. So this is definitely something, if I do a redesign of the Lance, I'll reconsider. Unfortunately, oh, hang on, this one has a little more possibility. We can definitely switch out the offensive subsystem. So what happens to the speed when I do this? Okay, that's something I think I can work with. I'm not crazy about losing weight, but I don't want to throw away the possibility either. Oh wait, was that an Ox Light that I just threw on? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to switch this thing out to something I'm probably not going to use. I don't use left stabilizers that much. We will adjust the livery, so again, anything I'm not currently equipping, I put as gray just because it's easier to visually identify inside of my parts list. So we'll put on the new VDAR, which again, I am going to lose some speed, but overall, I think this is a worthwhile improvement. We'll throw on the passive heatsink. We'll give it my beloved blueberry color. And then finally we'll see if we can get him some new legs. So I've got the Helga Heavies on right now, and there's no colored legs for me to run with. So let's say we're done with that. I don't have a new sniper rifle. I'm really happy with the way the Sleipnir is operating right now. So I think the rest of the squad we're going to keep as is. And we are now ready to raid the convoy. I'm going to have a few bites of dinner. Oh wait, but there's going to be some dialogue for me to read. No identification received. Targets closing in. Reinforcements needed. Sorry. Oh, this is the "you're losing the game" music. Game does not think I've made a good decision coming after these folks. Okay. Oh man. This is a map where we got completely clobbered too. So, the danger I've been running into lately is when I try to capture these points, we wind up knocked out. So I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to be really brutal. Oh, good lord. Okay, there's also reinforcements arriving on turn 2. So, let's see what we're dealing with. But I know a lot more about how my... I know a lot more about just kind of how my squad works, and the changes to melee are something that should hopefully help us out a bit. So, the tanks: cannon, autocannon, sidearm missile launcher. That is a cluster missile. I'm assuming another cluster missile. No, this is direct. Okay. Autocannon. Okay, this one's a little bit of a threat. Everything over here we can safely ignore. So we are totally going to have party time here. This mech's going to do exactly what it's intended to do. Actually, I'm creating one small problem for myself in that I'm changing the angle in which everybody's attacking me, so some of the stuff's going to come through. Let me just see how I'm going to mitigate that. Here's an interesting question. What if I gotta go right to the side and then up like this? So again, the whole point of this, the existence of this unit right now, is to draw fire. Okay, so shield goes up. Not much we can do about the missiles, but Now, theoretically, around this point, we should actually be behind the hill, but it doesn't look like those sort of those lines are breaking. This is a little bit of a kind of a baby move, but I think I'm actually okay just keeping the shield up as I move along rather than trying to do the shotgun. So this is a bit of an unconventional choice for my. There's a little bit of an unconventional choice for Tango, just simply because normally I want to move this unit sort of in and ready to go. The thing is, I know I'm going to get ripped apart if I let sort of the attacks from two angles come in, so I'm actually moving around the side and I'm going to get them to do cleanup duty. What is nice, though, is I now know that there's so much that's going to be opened up for the rest of my team. Nobody else is going to be attacking them, and so this is going to open up my, my other teammates to be able to do really effective attacks. So, for instance, here I'm going to do as many sniper shots on the. Oh, okay. I want to try and get 2 off on this round if I can. On the enemy mech. In fact, maybe even the enemy mech isn't the right call here. Maybe I just want to go and maybe I just want to take out more tanks. Let's see what I can get done with the rest of my squad. So the Hermes is going to do what the Hermes does best, which is just run in and claim objectives. One of the really important things for me here is to make sure that I don't go crashing into my own people. So, for instance, bouncing off of the lance is not a good idea here. Okay. Oh, I still tag him on the end. So basically, the aim for this unit is just get them firing as much as possible. In fact, what I'm going to do in addition, I'm going to work out what I'm doing with my Sleipnir. I think in this case I'll just get him to wait a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to run in. I'm just trying to figure out what the best angle to approach with is. There's not a whole lot in terms of, oh man, their angles are just what they need to be to stop me from getting some better melee strikes. So I guess the best I could hope for would be, oh, that's right, my primary weapon doesn't have the same range as the sword either. Huh. Okay. So unfortunately, my grand designs for melee aren't quite what I thought they would be, but we can work with it. So again, we'll wait the Hermes out. I'm gonna take out whatever I can. So again, the hope would have been that I could take out more than one, more than one enemy. But even taking out one is sufficient. So now I know I can safely ignore this beast with an autocannon. So if I just open the round with firing at the enemy, then I have friendly fire, and that's no good. Okay, some heat problems. Of course, the other trick here is to make sure that I'm not completely wasting my attacks. In fact, this seems like a good use for the shotgun. So I suppose the next question here would be, is there a better time for me to fire my rifle? I think the answer to that is yes. Okay. So basically the aim of this turn is to... you know what? I am going to change my sniper moves. So I think what I want to try and do is pick off as many tanks as I can before the reinforcements arrive. I also have the friendly fire difficulties again. So if I just stand and shoot... Ah, well then I have... Then I think I have some aiming problems. Okay, so that's getting taken out by my... Okay, so I do have to move my behemoth. I think, unfortunately, I'm only going to be able to get one sniper shot off. Oh, no, you know what? Well, this might work. Yeah, there's a little bit of a friendly fire worry I have there. Guess as a bit of support I can throw off the missiles. I think the double sniper on the enemy mech would have been a better choice, to be honest. But let's see how it goes. So again, the lance is going to be sort of absorbing all of the attention from the other mechs, and what we're going to be doing is just trying to pick apart as much of the force as we can in the 2 turns we have before reinforcements arrive. So let's watch it happen. Okay, so exactly 1 down. This one's gonna lose its treads though, so we're in okay shape there. The biggest thing I want to worry about right now is who is firing at who. So this unit's heading straight towards my my melee unit, so we're gonna take revenge. So that generates a little bit of heat for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk on my way. Okay, so we're thinking that this one's treads might be taken. You know what? It's still worth it. So I'm going to walk a little bit. I'm going to clonk them. Ooh. Secondary attack seems to be a little more appropriate there. And then this is going to be a setup for... so the idea here for the melee, I'm going to deal with the immediate threat towards it, which is this tank. And then in order to close the gap, I'm going to do a melee strike on this unit. And then I'm going to climb up. And we're going to go after... The next turn we're going to go to take out this, this unit. Now, here's an important thing to keep in mind. This is one of my biggest reasons for not starting off that firing. See how many missiles are coming towards me? I've already taken a huge amount of damage on my shield. What I'm going to do about the missiles are I'm going to dash, and then we'll fire on the enemy. And this is now where I kind of get to be like the Terminator and just sort of walk forward. Doesn't look like anybody's coming after the doesn't look like anybody's kind of coming after the lance otherwise. The one worry I do have is if you take a look at it, this unit is firing missiles at me, so I'm kind of walking towards those missiles when as the turn goes by, but I don't know if I have a good answer in terms of how to handle it. I can try and do a dash somewhere, but it should be sort of a dash with well, you know what? I'm curious. So if I were to go somewhere like this, say, doesn't really get me anywhere I want to go. So I think I'm just going to accept the risk. I'll move in closer, and then I'm going to, when the heat is available, try and take out a target of opportunity. Let's say this unit. This will definitely be one I do in slow motion. So let's just take a second here and think about who we've dealt with. This unit's probably going to fall to the shotgun. This unit's almost certainly going to fall to the Sleipnir's attack. Okay, so all of the... It looks to me like all of the units on this side should be taken out. So, next questions are, what do I do with my sniper? I think probably getting my sniper to some high ground and, well, higher ground. And starting to work on the rapscallions on the other side is a good bet. Did I not realize... Oh, no, that's my unit. Okay. That's a pretty doubtful attack. I think I'm going to focus on the enemy map. Oh, hang on. That one sort of seems to be standing idle a little bit, so we might be able to pop them. Okay, and basically everybody... Notice how everybody wants to kill the Hermes. So this is one of these cases where the speed of the Hermes is a major virtue for it. I'm running hot, or I was running hot. But this is completely one of these cases where it makes the most sense for me to... So I'm sort of turning my... Actually, you know what? Probably just starting with the dash is as sensible as anything. Whoa! What's going on with my heat here? Okay, so I do have to run a little bit. Okay, that's a little more manageable. Although I would really like to get on this side of the hill, so let's see if I can pull that off somehow. Well, the problem with that is I get a bunch of hits to the back, and I'm sort of... My head's still peeking up over the cover, so I think I'll deal with the less than optimal cover. I mean, one other possibility I've got here would be to zip down like this. And there's still a couple of direct hits. Okay, there's a bit of damage I take, but it's not... It's sort of like it's at the start of the... It's like this unit's gonna get... Actually, I'm kind of banking on 2 of these units to be taken out, so it's at this point to this point from a... Oh, it's a cannon. That's a serious attack. But I suppose the question is, what am I going to do to mitigate it? Because if I start moving... Like, if I start moving out... I'm just inviting disaster. Okay, you know what? It's not great, but I'm just going to sort of stand and... I'm going to stare down the attack. And then we're going to run up for our revenge. And I suppose as a precaution, we'll fire stuff at this guy in case they're not fully taken out. Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a dodgy one, but the real highlight here is going to be what happens to the missiles on the lance. So, well, one of them went off. It's not counting that. Okay, there was some damage. Okay, that didn't get taken out. It's crashing, but it's not dead. Okay, again, crashing, but not dead. So these are going to be a worry. Does it not count as the attack? Oh, that's frustrating. I really thought we had that melee attack there. Anyways, it's crashing, so that's okay. So let's see how we deal with the missiles on the way to us. There's a lot of cleanup to get done this upcoming turn. But a persistent bunch. Command won't commit any more drop squads to the site. So let's get this over with. 4 new contacts. Let's see what we're up against. All tanks. Looks like at least 1 missile launcher. Probably 3 maybe? But we should be able to take them out. One thing that's actually kind of convenient here is that we should be able to shoot under the bridge. And hit them. I'm clearly not going to be going towards the objective here because we're sort of stuck in for this fight for sure. Okay, so this unit's about to surrender. This unit is attacking, so I believe the responsibility is the lances to mop this up. It's way too slow in doing it, but give my allies a little help by bumping the guy with the shield. Okay, so we're gonna wait out for the attack, and then we're gonna move in to be a little more active. It's a worry that the enemy is ignoring my tank. Okay, inactive, surrendering, presumably dead. Okay, so let's go with the Sleipnir, who I feel is the one who... Like this, I think, given where all of the enemies are sort of clustered, but they're going to be attacking me. So if I do like a big, bold dash... That accomplishes absolutely nothing. So, well, you know what? This isn't so bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run around the corner. Oh, but then I hit my own guy, so maybe I have to dash. This is so silly, but... Okay, so I dash and move around the corner. So what I'm doing here, I would normally love to have this unit kind of coming in and finishing off the enemies, but it's really clear that they're focusing on this unit here. But it also means that my Hermes is sort of free to do other things. So this will have some heat consequences, I think. Yeah. But what I get to do this round, and I'm gonna go all the way on this one because there's gonna be some cover that I get here. But because nobody's really paying attention to the Hermes anymore, I'm going to take the opportunity to sort of rake them over the coals with my assault rifle. I guess the big question is, what is what's my best target? I may not be able to get the second one off. That's a pity. I don't think I want to risk my... You know what? In this case, maybe I just do the shotgun. Yeah. Okay. Not as exciting as I was thinking for the Hermes, but again, it's a light squad, so I need to avoid the damage as much as possible. Okay, this unit, right? It'll be crashing, and I mean, there's a small chance that there will be some damage to the Sleipnir off of this. So I will sort of angle myself to absorb the attack from anywhere but the front. And start walking in again. And then my sniper seems to have free reign again, so let's just think about who we want to inconvenience. I'm not crazy about the fact that I kind of have to guess where the optimal range is. Something seems to have affected the sort of the angles. So obviously the big hope would have been to have my melee unit just run in and tear these guys apart, but they're all focusing on the melee unit, so I know that's not going to happen. I think it's also fair to say that this little perch is not serving me anymore. They're all behind the hill, so I'm going to start moving. I'm going to start moving towards a safer location. I do kind of want to see how this plays out, so I'm going to do this one in slow-mo, and obviously because we're going to be dodging missiles, we got to start with the Hermes. Okay, so the Sleipnir is going to wind up getting hit by that attack. Okay, mostly avoided the damage. That thing's out. These missiles are going to be a bit of a worry for me, but I might be able to outrun them, and it'll be a beautiful thing if I do. I am not outrunning them. Oh, maybe I am. Holy crap, we actually pulled it off. That's really interesting. So my Hermes is so fast, it can outrun missiles. Well, possibly. Like, they're not quite out of the woods yet, but you better believe I'm dashing next turn. Okay, maybe we can't outrun missiles. It sure looks like it, though. They're having quite the time trying to track this guy. That definitely hurt, though. Okay, so music might be changing. No, still thinks I'm losing. But, like, let's just take a look at what we've got here. So, sort of the lower level here has been dealt with. This guy's going to be surrendering, so we're okay there. So there are some fresh tanks. These are going to be a little bit of a worry coming up. I will admit, the Sleipnir took quite a bit more damage than I was anticipating. And that's, that's kind of unlucky on my part. I might have been able to build that better, but it is what it is at this point. So I don't think a dodge is going to help me here, or a dash is going to help me here. I think, the time that it'll take me to warm up, I think at this point I should just embrace what's going to happen and deal with it. I wish I remembered who these missiles were for. I think it might be the Sleipnir, which gives me a big reason to do a melee attack. But let's see who's attacking everyone. So looks like it's the Behemoth's turn in the barrel. Okay, so This is actually a laughably easy problem to deal with. I don't even need to dash. I just walk to the hill. So again, missiles are going to be a worry. Okay. So essentially I'm just going to stick myself behind this cover until the in fact, I'm not even going to bother trying to get a new perch. Is there anybody even in range? Not really, but they will get in range. Well, I'm assuming these are probably just going to hit the side of the... I'm not too convinced this is actually going to do anything. We'll see, though. So one thing I want to get done right away is get in range and... Ooh, this is going to be a tight... Okay, let me make sure this actually hits. Pretty sure it does. So I want to see if I can get away with the second one. This is going to be a hard unit to chase down, I think. See, the problem I have here is this is kind of a time. Kind of a long time to wait to try and dodge missiles. I think that's as good as I'm going to get, though. So let's. I think I'll just have to deal with the world as it is. Huh. I really thought I would be able to do more with the Sleipnir. So I'm actually gonna... I think I'm gonna assign them to tank cleanup. There's no point in trying to do that attack until I know where the enemy's moving. Alright, I kind of hate that I'm only doing one attack with this guy, but... And the nice thing is that if this doesn't turn out, I already know that the behemoth is sort of in a safe place. So if the attack doesn't turn out the way that I want it to, I'm still in a good position to help myself. Okay, so one thing I probably want to do here with my shield's getting a little. My shield's getting a little, that's what's happening. Okay, well, it's not great, but I'm going to throw up the shield to just deal with this attack for starters. Now, the good news is my lance gets to feast. And while my preference would normally be to go start taking out the primary mech, these tanks they're numerous and they're difficult. So I'm actually going to start popping the whatever mechs I can get my hands on. Which does mean that the Hermes is sort of stuck. They're on their own in terms of drawing fire. So the first thing they need to do is run behind the hill. So run. There's missiles coming after them. That's, a part of life. Oh, this is a nice little position for them to be in, actually. So then the question is, what other shots can I do during my run? Let's open up with... and I don't think I can get away with a third, but yeah, too much heat. Can't make it work that way. Okay, I hope you guys don't mind. I am going to do another slow-mo one. Question is, who is the target for the slow-mo first? I think we'll see how it turns out with the Hermes first. Okay, so the missiles completely miss him at this point. Okay, so he took the run. All right, so there are some big hits coming on the Sleipnir. That's not so good. So let's see how this goes. Beautiful. So I think all these missiles are just getting shot into the side of the mountain. Those missiles are going to get scary in a little bit. Well, we can probably crash him this turn at least. So all of these, I do like that music cue as all the missiles are coming up. So that's going to be all heading towards the Hermes. So we got lucky here. I mean, again, this is the sort of stuff where if you, like, I would definitely be focusing on this little story happening here when the, when the replay feature comes in, because essentially this is like what you see in just about every, every kind of role-playing art of the surrounded unit kind of with their back against the wall and the fire coming everywhere. So we've got cluster missiles coming after them here. Cluster missiles coming from the primary attack of the enemy unit. It might actually be as easy as waiting out these missiles to hit the mountain, and then these missiles are going to be heading towards the behemoth. Might be as easy as a question of just waiting it out and taking my shots on the oncoming missile platforms. Maybe I'll deal with the... I'm actually going to scrub out the Hermes' attacks for now. I think it's a little bit more interesting to see what happens when I free up my other units. Okay, so I can't club them from this. Oh man, I'm chasing a tank. This is embarrassing. Okay, so halfway through the turn, I finally get my quarry. Okay, not great, but it's what I've got. So what's attacking me? It's all the missiles. All right. So I'm a little curious. I don't think I'm going to be able to get away with this, but I am a little curious about my opportunities. So the real problem I have with this is that it does nothing to protect the Sleipnir. So what I wind up doing is it's a 1080 and a full volley, and then added to it whatever comes from... Oh, this autocannon fire? That's not going to do anything to me. Yeah, you know what? I don't really think this is... as much as I want to try and do damage, I don't think this is a good... I don't think this is a good trade-off. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to stick myself between the hill and the enemy. I think I should still be able to get some shots off. Ugh. I don't like that hit chance. That's a little better. So see, the problem that I have here now is that there are missiles on their way to get me. Maybe the way I handle that... I was really thinking I could jump over the edge. We'll wait it out. I should wait out the full attack. So if I walk a little bit and then dash, perfect. So again, I'm going across the open field, but the trick here is going to be that I'm just kind of giving myself some extra distance to play with, and hopefully giving them something to target while the rest of my units do their thing. Okay. The Lance is sort of a free agent, so this thing's crashing. It may surrender next turn, it may not, but it's not something I need to worry about right now. So then the question is, do I want to try and take out the remaining tanks, or is it time for us to try and go after the enemy missile launcher? Now, my feeling on the enemy missile launcher is that it is definitely inconvenient. It is not my greatest threat right now. The tanks are the ones that are actually doing... The tanks are the ones that are actually doing the damage to me. So where I can, I'd like to... Ooh, what's the weight difference? I think I figure this guy is probably tough enough to... Yeah, they can tell me to F off. Well, I mean... It is the best attack I have available, so we'll start with that, I suppose. Split the heat damage evenly. We're all about fairness here. Alright, not the most exciting turn, but again, the Lance is kind of where they need to be. There might be some adjustments that I make. So the real conundrum is just to figure out what's happening with these missiles against the Hermes. I'm going to build this turn on the assumption that the Hermes is safe where they are. Okay, so I actually want to focus on this unit for that first attack. Basically, we're just softening up whatever we can as they come in. I think this should give me a good perspective. I want to see what the Hermes is doing, but I don't want it to be the focus. Okay, so unfortunately that thing didn't seem to get properly taken out, and it will be attacking next turn. But we're looking good here. Looks like I did wind up taking some down. Ooh, all of those... No. Okay, sorry. I was like, all of those missiles just found me. But yeah, that was definitely not a position of safety. And unfortunately, I took the damage right in all the sensitive places. So, I'm going to be a little more active this turn. Is that the best rate? I think I can live with it. So I'm going to focus on this unit with the Hermes, and then we're just going to sort of rip them all apart from behind. I think at this point I need to start thinking about what's the best way for me to get as many units as possible off the field. One great way of doing that is melee. A little too early on that. Okay, so that should be 3 that we hit with the... That should be 3 that we hit with the Sleipnir. Okay, the missiles are already on their way. I'm already dashing. Man, there's going to be 2 big moments here. So I think in this case I'm going to do another full dash horizontally. I'm going to run it out a little bit. And then a dash behind cover. So it may be that the behemoth is actually just drawing fire this turn, which I'm completely okay with. However, moving and firing sniper rifles is not the done thing. But I should probably be able to get some missile fire in. Nope, don't have the range. That's the best I can probably hope for there. I wanted to try and do something at least. Okay, Sleipnir's taken care of. Hermes is taken care of. So really, it's up to the Lance to sort of make the remaining play. I don't even really see. I guess everybody's focusing on the Behemoth, but we did say last turn that that was going to be what happened. Okay, so this unit wants to throw missiles at me, and I got a really easy answer for how to deal with that. So number 1. I do need to cool off a little bit, so I'm just going to throw up my shield. And I'm going to walk over everybody who had the audacity not to get taken out by me. Following that, I'm going to take my shotgun and I'm going to point it at the enemy. You know what? I'm so confident. I'm not even going to point it at the enemy unit. I'm going to point it at all the remaining. Well, it's probably going to hit both. Let's try that again. Yeah, I'm going to use it to take out the missile platforms that I can. Maybe a punch to the face later. Yeah, it's too hot. Okay. Easy answer then. Throw up the shield and just generally be a bit of a jerk to the remaining tanks. God, so much happening. Okay, so Hermes is doing what it can. There is going to be some fancy dodging that happens at the start. Okay, so fancy dodging at the start, and then we'll start moving in on the Sleipnir, because then we'll also get to see what the Lance is doing. But I do want to see how the missile dodging works. Okay, that's definitely gonna get a... I'm gonna get away with that. These other ones less obvious, but... Okay, so this guy's crashing, or it always was crashing though, so that probably won't actually mean much. Where's the Sleipnir? So I don't know if this will be effective in damaging me from the missiles, but what is going to happen is I'm going to try and push this guy into his own units to cause them to crash. But this is the moment we're really looking for. Does not count as a hit. So it said there was a crash, but the game didn't treat it as actual connection. So I'm definitely going to need to get a better understanding about how the game communicates melee attacks. All right, and that's just a wonderful mess. Okay, so it looks like the behemoth was completely untouched in its escape plan, so that's kind of nice. There's a ton of missiles still coming after them, though, so... I'm actually just gonna make them a dodging master for the next little bit, because it's all that the enemy units are doing to them, and that's fine by me. That just frees up my guys to do more work. Okay, so let's just see what we're dealing with. So the Sleipnir is going to be sort of running through its attack. Oddly, I wasn't actually going for the objective, but why not? Let's just see who's still up and running. Okay, so that one's down. They are going to be attacking the... Okay, I don't think I have the... I love doing bold moves with my my Sleipnir, but... Well, you know... Okay, let's try and plot this as best as I possibly can. So, like, that red line is so obviously on that enemy unit. I don't see the collision thing, though. That's the one worry that I have. But then that might be if I like move directly over it. So I'm gonna go with what the game is telling me, which is to look at the red line. I think I'm just gonna get myself in position to bully this one. What about the Hermes? The Hermes is actually, I mean, again, the arm damage wasn't great, but I actually think I'm gonna go into a position where I'm trying to claim the objective. Heat problems again. Okay, so I think we said the behemoth was sort of occupied with staying alive. This one we'll do at full speed. Well, sorry, we'll do it at full speed after the melee attack happens. Okay, that sucks. There's absolutely nothing I could have done to avoid that crash. I am not happy about that. Hey, HRJ, how you doing? The community manager comes in, a community manager, sorry, I know there's more than one now, comes in right around the time I'm complaining about crashing. Great to see you. I'm sorry I'm getting started a little bit late, but I'm really happy to see you here. And actually, guys, I should mention, HRJ was playing Bugsnax. Now, the trailer for it was certainly intriguing enough, but this is, like, as a consumer, this is wonderful for me, which is that there's so many high-quality games which come out, and you know, they you know, I don't really think twice about them. Like, I just kind of assume that anything that I pick up is going to be of really exceptional quality. Phantom Brigade, no exception, by the way. But, like, from someone who kind of cares a little bit about you know, someone who kind of cares about the supply side, it's got to be kind of nerve-wracking that there can be something so good, which is just sort of like, you know, someone shrugs and I'm like, okay, it's a game, it's something that I'm sure I'll get around to eventually. So Jared did a really nice job of showing off Bug Snacks, and it's surreal wonder. I had a really great time watching them stream it. They were co-casting with a friend, I think. It's not a multiplayer game, but just sort of you had nice rapport on the broadcast. So in addition to being a newly minted community manager for Brace Yourself, semi-newly mint. I mean, Jared's been in the stream. Actually, do you prefer a Jared J or is Jared an appropriate abbreviation? Either way, it's they've been in the channel before. It's a very pleasant presence. And let me just I'll put it to you this way: the team at Brace Yourself. This is everybody who's stopped by the channel has been nice enough that so when something happens today, like where I'm starting a couple of hours late. I actually feel less bad in terms of the the usual Twitch thing where it's like you want to be on schedule so that people know when to watch you and so on and so forth. I actually feel kind of bad because I'm like, oh no, I'm letting them down. I'm not showing their wonderful game. And that's definitely not true for everyone. Jared is part of that effort that makes playing a Brace Yourself game a great experience overall. Gaming is very clearly more than just the actions that you take on the battlefield, and not every game's on a battlefield. This maybe says something about my warmongering tendencies that's the only kind of game that I play. Games are clearly more than what happens on the screen now. They are things that you either share with people, they're things that you talk about afterwards. You better believe there's a lot of stuff that I share with people in terms of the game, like Phantom Brigade and things that I've either done or I tell them. And but the fact of the matter is the Discord and the community that's built around Brace Yourself games. I do highlight that Discord quite a bit because it is a really good resource and it's a really good environment. And again, these things don't happen coincidentally. They're the product of effort on people's part, and Jared is one of them. And you get, and to me at least, finally getting a chance to sort of sit down and spend some proper time in his channel. It's easy to see why they're suitable to that kind of work. Very personable streamer, somebody who's nice to interact with in terms of chat. I think generally, if anybody's capable of tolerating me in a chat, it usually means that they're able to handle the worst. But it was a lot of fun to hang out there, and it definitely put Bug Snacks back on my radar. So another person to check out. Oh, do I really want to? I don't really think I want to. Oh, but it's an autocannon though, so the worry here is that the missiles will catch up with me, because this isn't exactly a high barrier. But let's take the shot because we're close to wrapping up the mission anyway. We don't have the Doom music playing after me anymore. Oh, I have an easier answer to this too. Okay, so Sleipnir takes out the primary mech. We run them in. No, dash isn't going to work there. I got to walk it to the... Okay, so maybe as an alternative. Okay, so one thing I want to try and get away with is a shotgun shot, but after the Sleipnir is cleared, and then the idea will be the lance is also going to come and help out. So one of these are going to get attacked by the tank with the autocannon. The one that isn't attacked is going to be the one that delivers the final blow. So I got to kind of keep the Hermes where it is. Now the good news is nobody seems to care about the Hermes. So we'll just, I'll just kind of let her rip at the closest target. Not a whole lot to do there, so... I do want to watch this revenge moment. I particularly appreciate the Phantom Dev team is super active in communicating directly with players on the Discord. Yeah, I also have noticed that with Industries of Titan. For those of you, again, it's worth mentioning, so this is Phantom Brigade twice in a row. It is more likely I will probably do Industries of Titan next week, because again, with the arrival of Stellaris, and again, I'm incredibly appreciative that they did give me that key, because it has been very difficult to continue doing Paradox games. And, so in addition to the fact that Brace Yourself is Canadian and I like supporting Canadian stuff, and the games are really good, I've not felt too bad to have the stuff on the Mondays. But, again, the fact of the matter is that somebody actually took the time to give me that Stellaris key when my common experience is not to actually have that go through anymore. I do want to honor it by treating it the way that I normally have, which has been to have the Monday streams for that. So it creates a little bit of pressure on me. For those of you that really like Phantom Brigade, you may be a little disappointed when I come in on Industries of Titan. But the other thing I hope is that if you do just like one or the other game, I do hope you hang around, because there's some really good stuff in both games. And I'm really hoping that people get a chance to sort of maybe discover something that is not their usual thing. Because the one thing I will say for all of these games is that they, I do think they have a broad enough appeal that, for those of you that have seen Ryan Clark's, his Twitch streams on the idea of hooky games, like, there are things that I think have a broad enough appeal, and these games in the early access, I will be the first to admit that there's sometimes some UI improvements, there's sometimes some things that need to, I'm just trying to think about how I handle these, but we'll deal with them later. There's some things that can be improved for sure, but especially the finished version, which is usually what you're buying the game for anyway. I really feel like there's a lot of consideration that's going in terms of the player's experience. And I can sort of speak to that specifically because if you go to the Discord, you can see exactly how they are talking about the game. And they're very conscious. Like, it's clear in Industries of Titan that people don't know that they're supposed to be refining resources. And so, there was a little tweet that they put out, which is good because I've actually really struggled to try and do a short tutorial for Industries of Titan. Brevity is not my strong suit, as you're talking about. It helps when people ask questions I can't answer. Yeah, actually, it's really interesting. I notice Adelaide seems to be everywhere. And it's also kind of intriguing, too, because I noticed that the Phantom dev team is really good at watching, and they're interactive. So it's actually been really nice to be able to sort of see some of the Phantom devs. But I do tend to notice that they sort of sit and watch very frequently. And I definitely get the impression that they're sort of looking at how people are doing and they don't want to like mess with the experiment. So, hey, Kodiak Samurai, how are you doing? It's always good to see you. For those of you who don't know Kodiak Samurai, actually, I'll try and get a sneaky shout out here, but this is mostly because of... Mostly just because this is somebody who doesn't get to stream as much as I think as they want. And Kodiak Samurai is actually a mod for a streamer named Tuesday Gray. And I remember back, like, Tuesday Gray was a smaller broadcaster, and Kodiak had very nicely asked us, like, streamers kind of looking to build up their channel, would you mind giving them a host, which I was happy to do. Tuesday wound up being a really wonderful streamer. I guess we didn't get to see the animation of the mace going, but I'm really happy to see this guy go flying. Their right arm's also done, so we get some tasty scrap for us. But Tuesday Gray went from, a somewhat small streamer. I think probably she had more viewers than me at the time, even on that first host. But to partnership, and it's, again, really easy to see why. Tuesday has, again, a wonderful community. Also, I do like talking about sort of the ambassadors of communities, and that's Jared J is the one for Brace Yourself. Kodiak is for Tuesday Grays. And, someone who... So one thing I really like was that it had been a while, and then I got to hear from Tuesday a while back, and it actually felt really good that she, bothered to, say hi and have an interaction. Because the funny thing is there's plenty of small streamers that I know who, as soon as they kind of get a big host somewhere else, all of a sudden they don't start, they kind of, all of a sudden they're really hard to find. They don't come around unless, they happen to know there's like a developer they want a key from inside of the channel. Or there's one guy in particular where if a developer like retweets a tweet that I'm going live, or like they show that they've interacted with it, without fail, that person shows up. Don't try to look for it, by the way. That pattern has kind of started to break now. And it's, I think, because I'm talking a little more frankly about this sort of stuff. But what's really interesting is that, some of the people from that cohort who did go on to become, get partnership, which is sort of kind of the brass ring in terms of streaming, Tuesday, Kitch, they're all people who've kept in touch. And it definitely speaks something to someone's character. Like, it's really nice that, they're taking the time that, you don't kind of feel like you've been used as a rung to, just kind of get that partnership goal that you wanted. It's one of the reasons why I really like talking about people like Tuesday. Also, a big one for that is to, doing that shout out, even though it's not necessarily somebody who I get to see very often in terms of the stream. As I point out, like for people who are infrequent in terms of their broadcasts, being able to do that follow means that you'll be able to catch them when they do go online. She's a fun streamer. Hope she gets back to a place where internet allows her to stream. Still grateful for your willingness to share your audience with her and her support. Yeah, well, I mean, Tuesday, I feel, is just a matter of, hitting that critical mass where everybody got to see what good, she could do. Another degree. I don't remember the succession line about more than one degree, but that's really good. Congratulations. I mean, I know, so as soon as the pandemic came up, I knew I'd be probably hearing about a lot of school, because it's just something that happens, right? When, there's an economic downturn, people's opportunities are less than what they would be. And so school becomes relatively more attractive. You're not necessarily going to be earning as much, and developing your human capital is a good idea. But one really sad fact for that is I had he's a colleague. He was actually in the cohort before me at UBC, or sorry, after me at UBC. He's actually quite a good economist. He's one of the people at work who I really feel like so I just want to make sure there's no sneaky tanks hiding somewhere. I will have to deal with these guys later, but you've been working on this one for 2.5 years. Okay, so pre-COVID. That's really cool. I think I'd go nuts if I had to do that. But the real shame here is that apparently, so he wanted to get a PhD. I think very well suited for it, because he's definitely very bright and very hardworking. He also runs marathons and was sent to Argentina, I think, to do a marathon run. But the problem was, like, he did really well. Like, he won a prize at my university. My university is not it is a very good economics university. And he didn't, and had like a good references that he didn't make it. Just because, this is all of the people coming in to try and get a PhD, the bar is significantly raised, just because there's fewer opportunities out there, I think. But which is a shame. Like, I really would have liked to see things work out for him, but I also think that if he, I think one of the things is that because I know what it's like to work where I work, what an insightful comment. But there is definitely kind of an overemphasis in terms of that piece of paper. And I sort of think that the motivation might be related to, just kind of actually being properly heard in the workplace, as opposed to necessarily having a particular academic need. And so one hopeful solution to that will just be that work maybe start treating him with a little bit more respect, I think. You and I used to geek out. How's my professional life going? I've moved to a new department, or a new division in the same department. So I will be honest, I got into what I did sort of on the like, Mr. Smith goes to Washington kind of idea. Like I wanted to do something. I had a chance to work at a consulting firm, and it was like, I'm a little young to do that. I don't think I want to like make wealthy people more money. Nothing wrong with that work, by the way. It's just like, I don't know, like they were telling me I'd be doing transfer pricing, which for those of you that don't know the lingo, it's sort of like, it's the moving the money around so that you can minimize the taxes you pay sort of thing. I was like, I'm sure it would be very interesting work and I'm sure I'd be very good at it, but like maybe I want to do, something a little bit more, meaningful. Public sector. And what I found is that there's definitely, because of the public sector, there's a lot of sort of lifers and there's a lot of kind of ladder climbing. And I really do not work well in environments like that. I do tend to want to, focus a bit on, getting something done well, getting it done right. And my assistant director where I'm at right now is sort of brought in to try and shake up some old policies and that, but it's very hard. And I'm sort of realizing that if something can be perceived as potentially making someone having to like do it a new way, there's a lot of resistance to it, which again, I know this is like these are the stereotypes of those. So I will admit it's been a bit of a struggle. And there've been some encounters lately, which have made that very hard to deal with. I'm trying to stay positive. But I have been considering, I applied to a couple of games jobs. Because I do think that there's some data stuff that I can do that's interesting. Now, unfortunately, I never really got any kind of callbacks or anything like that. So I definitely feel like my resume and my presentation could be polished a little bit. But some game developers have been very generous in terms of sharing their data. There's actually one thing that I kind of need to catch up on, which I've been struggling a little bit because I'm not as great with time series, and it's a good data set, but it's one that is missing a lot of stuff I would have liked to have had. So I'm trying to deal with it the same way I would deal with any other project, which is to not like hand wave it, not rely on heuristic arguments, like actually sit down and properly do the work. But that's actually been probably the most rewarding stuff that I've been doing so far, because at least one article that came out, which I can share, by the way. Did I work for an accounting firm before? No, unfortunately, AJJ, I hear this from folks quite a bit. The only thing I really know about accounting is that I work with a lot of tax filings. So the accounting I know is from trying to understand the variables, but I don't have any of the accounting certifications. And beyond the fact that I do my own taxes, I'm absolutely rubbish at that sort of thing. Oh, that's really cool, Kodiak Samurai. But yeah, if you want to see the article that I wrote, that's one that I can share. It's not like there's not a groundbreaking analysis or anything like that, but people were really actually. Ryan talked about it on Ryan, the owner of Brace Yourself Games, actually talked about it on his Clark Tank thing, which was really nice. So I'll find it. I'm sorry I've been talking about myself so much instead of Phantom Brigade. Sorry guys, it's a chance for me to catch up with some people I don't always get a chance to see. Let me just bring up this article really quick, so I can get that out of the way. It is, I will admit, I'll give you a quick warning, Kodiak Samurai. It's definitely an inside baseball thing. So I don't know how much you follow game developers online. No, not at all. I guess what you said, you work for... Oh, no. Yeah, sorry. I didn't... that was the job offer that I had available. But yeah, they were specifically looking for... They were specifically looking for economists in that case. So it's like, I totally get where it... Like, from the context of the conversation, I totally get where that came from. But yeah, I probably should have been a lot more clear in terms of that, and that sort of stuff. Funny thing actually is that I have a friend who started, she went to business school and just went to Ernst & Young, is doing incredibly well for herself. I think she's back in Vancouver now. Actually, I think she works for City of Vancouver now. But it makes me sort of wonder, it's like, I like academic stuff. I like sort of thinking in the world of ideas, but I don't mind doing work that people sometimes think is boring. and I probably I probably should have actually gotten something a little bit more direct, because I just think I'd be more useful to people. Like, one of the things I notice is that in terms of economic analysis, I think it's very, very helpful. But there's also that work to the uninitiated. You kind of need to justify what you're adding, because accounting sort of has this really strict set of policies and procedures, which either you follow or you're in a lot of trouble. And econ, in the seminar, you better know your stuff, but obviously there's not like a designation for it. So anyways, for those of you who are interested, Kit Fox Games lent me a bunch of their data, and there is so I will get back to the game, but just for the interest, because I shared this link inside of the chat. The idea here is that if you follow game developers on Twitter, and I highly recommend you do that, because it's a really interesting perspective that you get, and it's also where you find about interesting games. Because like I found out about Phantom Brigade because of this stuff, or like following different developers and just hearing them sort of talk about not only what they're working with, but what they're interested in playing. But in the case, this is actually Victoria Tran, who is now working with Among Us. But at the time, she was a community manager for Kit Fox Games. And, we had a little bit of rapport because I'd streamed a couple of the games. And I said, it's like, hey, I'm looking for data to work with. I got a couple of ideas about some things that I can do with it, but would you be willing to share? And one of the things that's been coming out, I actually got data that was different from what I was expecting, but in this case, they kindly shared their sales data. So this will be all of the sales for the games across all regions. And it's, there's a thing in price index theory that's coming up called scanner data. So the idea would be that you get all of the transactions from a store, and that's basically what Steam gives you. The only thing is that, there's also, Itch and Humble and Epic and a bunch of different things. Priceonomics, I don't believe I have. Let me just bring that up. Oh, nuts, I brought the wrong window up. Interesting. Should take a look at this. So I'm just saving the tab. But basically what happened is that one really common thing that's being talked about, in independent game development is the idea of wish lists. So there's sort of this idea of you want to get as many wish lists as you can before the game launches, so then you can sort of have a big launch, and then you can have the visibility on the storefront that comes from a larger launch. And there's been sort of these estimates in terms of what wish lists kind of translate to in terms of sales. And, if you take your first 2 weeks of sales, what can you multiply that by to sort of get an idea in terms of what's going on? This is all really important stuff for a business, because you are going to be committing, about 2 years worth of resources towards a game, and you want to know whether or not you're capable of financing it. Because if you're not, you got to figure out where the money's got to come from. So, is that the wish list one? Yeah, I hope you find it interesting. Obviously, feel free to ask me about it, because I actually gave a presentation on it in the local game dev community, and I know your like boss's boss, Ryan, talked about it a little bit on his channel. He's very kind about it. But sorry, I need to get to the point and back to the game. But what was interesting on this one, and where I wanted to try and go with it, is that any given measure is going to, like, if you optimize for the measure as opposed to for the things associated with it, you are potentially going to wind up messing around with you're going to potentially mess around with the usefulness of that measure. So for instance, if I wanted to maximize wish lists, I could pay every user on Steam $10 to wish list my game. Not that I have a game, but you know what I'm saying. Now that will be a very large number of wish lists, but it's very easy to see why this will not translate into the sales expectations that I have, before, that kind of come from everybody else's. We're interested in wish lists because those communicate interests. They're sort of talking about the effectiveness of different forms of outreach. And so if you do things, you do want to get people to do that wish list. You do want to take actions that will lead people to that deeper engagement with the game, because by wish listing a game, you're actually taking the burden off of the developer to inform you about when the game goes on sale. And instead, that's going to Steam. And, Steam's pretty good at letting you know about that sort of stuff. Instead of a developer having to put money out of what might have been something that gets added to the game to maintain their, MailChimp or something like that. They are instead, letting Steam sort of handle it. And more importantly, services like that might be where Steam finally justifies the cut that it takes from the developers, right? 30% goes to Steam just for being on the store. So, the more that Steam's tools can be used, just the less kind of awful that 30% seems, in my opinion. So the thing here was that there's a lot of talk about wish lists, but I haven't actually seen anything about the valuation of a wish list. So it's a pretty basic thing here, and there's clear limitations. I get the credit on this one, but Tanya and Victoria gave a nice little bit of feedback on it. But basically what I did was I took the wish list data that they had given me, and I sort of used it to kind of create this estimated value of what it was worth. Because if somebody wish lists and then waits to get the game at a deep discount, like $2 or something, that's clearly not worth as much as if somebody buys it at full price. And then the other challenge, of course, is that if you are going to a con, and the reason you're going to some convention is that you're trying to get a bunch of wish lists to sell your game, and it turns out that, maybe you get 100 wish lists, but they all wind up buying it at $2. That's probably not going to justify the travel expenses. There's other reasons to go to conventions and things like that, but basically doing this little bit of analysis here was hopefully showing some developers a way that they can look at the data that they already have available and make some meaningful decisions in terms of whether or not something that they're doing to acquire wish lists is useful. So again, this is not the sort of stuff that would pass in a class or something along these lines. I'm working with what I've gotten, but there were a couple of interesting takeaways from that I thought were worth reading. So it's I'm happy with how it turned out. I'm happy for the most part with the reception to it. I did kind of notice a really interesting thing about it, which was a few people had apparently read it but didn't share or talk about it because they were waiting for somebody with established data credentials to talk about it. So it was really interesting that there were a bunch of people that sort of simultaneously started talking about it once a name started going in. I'm like, that's not how data works, right? Either you're convinced or you're not. But I get it, because obviously a lot of people tend to use statistics to try and get away with something. And so there is sort of a rightful amount of skepticism about these sorts of things. I feel like I might have seen that one. I'm just going to copy that because I really appreciate you guys dealing with me nerding out about these topics. I'm pretty sure I have visited this one, but I'm never going to turn down a chance to look at some more nerdy stuff. Yeah, no worries. Oops, wrong breakdown. Okay, bunch of grays. I'm happy that this turned out, though. Now, I know it says exception detected. It's recommended to terminate this play session after submitting details of the issue. Okay, actually, here's a question for Jared, if you're still around. Sorry to make you work. If this is off work hours for you and you're just hanging out, let me know. So when it says reporting the details, so there's the exceptions that I see here. Clearly something's gone wrong, but I'm not exactly sure what I should be reporting here. Null reference exception I get is a big one, although I know that also happens in Unity a whole lot. My usual inclination has been to just reset the game at this point. But is there something is there a more useful way that I can use this log to help out Phantom Brigade? And again, like if this is like asking you to work on your leisure hours, I apologize, and please don't feel obligated to do that. But just because I have, I have an opportunity here to potentially give some useful feedback. I just wanted to make sure. Personally, don't really watch streamers for the games. You watch to see their person. Oh, thank you. That's great to hear. I did used to do a couple of more data-oriented streams, and I do have a new blog that's going to be coming out where I look at Steam reviews and whether or not they are actually as good at, whether or not they're as good at kind of predicting sales as much as they're used for. But I don't know, if people want to see that in a stream, I'll definitely put it together. But I'm just going to close this for a second and read the text again. It's recommended to terminate this play session after submitting the details of the issue. So, well, my blog is systemchalk.ca, but the Steam reviews one is not up yet. I keep adding more and more data to it. And okay, here's the one pitch I will say is that I think Simon Carlos did one. His is the most recent, as far as I can tell, which had 237 games observed. Mine will be older. It's actually a few years old, which isn't great, but it will have over 10,000 games in its estimates. So hopefully that will be a contribution, even though it's a little bit older. Okay, I think given that this will be clipped, and I kind of know what these are. Like there's a video record of this, so I'm gonna reset the game really quickly. Will you share that blog on your other blog? So the blog that I shared is actually the KitFox Games blog. So I don't have kind of authorship on that one. They kind of took a file that I made for them. But everything I have is at oh, do they want me to like properly exit then? All right, let's just close it out and start it up again. Oh, my upcoming Steam analysis. Yeah, so I'll share that on the System Chalk blog, and then I will probably, if people are interested, I'll try and do a stream around it. I'll share it. I'm also trying to. So I actually ran into a really unfortunate little bit where I tried to reach out to someone who had historical price data, and they kind of talk about being a community resource, but not only did they say no, which, you have to hear sometimes, they're actually really rude about it, which made me feel really bad because I don't like dealing with that sort of stuff. So it could have been better. I was actually trying to work on sort of for lack of a better term, sort of like a cost of living index for gaming. And unless I can get the historical price data, that's a non-starter. But I spun that into this other project I'm working on, and the way for me, the easy answer to that is just kind of look forward, right? I can stew about the guy being a jerk, or I can just try and get something productive done with it. And so my code is quite messy, but the intention would definitely be if somebody wanted to mess around with the database that I create, I would try and as best as I can, pack it up in something that they can work with and, share it in like a Google Sheets or whatever. The one problem is that because that happened while I was getting some of the work done, I know how sloppy I am at getting some things finished. Because I just want to get a result, right? I'm not trying to make a, data analytics as a service platform or something. And but after that experience, I've sort of said, like, I do not want to stop someone who is interested in following this stuff from being able to pursue it. So I will, as best as I can. I mean, the stuff I'm using is just stuff that people can get anyway. But for anyone who, for whatever reason, doesn't feel that they have access to the stuff that I was working with, I'm going to try and send as much of that out in as user friendly as a format as I can manage. And I know I'll fail. Like, I know I'm not going to be able to give everyone exactly what they want, because if you give somebody who's interested in data, if you tell them how much more do they want, they'll always say more. Or how much data they want, the answer is always going to be more. But I feel like I can at least try and set people on the right path. I'm so sorry about the slow progress here. We still got another hour, so we should still be able to knock out a couple of spots. But if anybody has any questions about Phantom Brigade or what I think of the new update and such, I'm happy to share that sort of stuff. All right, defended. Your recon says that this place is defended. You'll need to take it by force if you want anything out of there. So I'm not going to spend too much time on upgrading my mechs. Basically, I'm just going to take a look at what's new. I'll try and find whatever's appropriate for it. So gray Nox I'm not interested in. Left item. Yeah, again, gray sidearms aren't setting me wild. Early access would be I believe the official term. But yes, the game is currently in development. In my opinion, it looks great for something that's in early access, and it's a lot of fun to play. But that Discord that I keep talking about, the thing that probably has me most excited about Phantom Brigade is not how fun it is to play right now, although it is super fun. There are some incredibly ambitious plans for this game, it feels like. I do not believe so. I think Jared would be the one to know, but I also know that community managers get asked this question all the time. So it is still within its 1 year exclusivity with the Epic Games Store. I think somebody had said that they read something that it will be coming to Steam before early access is done, but I have not read that personally. And then, I'm sure, as with all game developers, they'll let us know when it's ready. But suffice to say, like, there are, as far as I can tell, quite a few plans for this game. And so, I'm personally not in any rush to see the thing come out of early access, just because every month there's been another update, which is like adding really cool new stuff that is directly addressing some stuff that I've run into in the game, like either things that I'm exploiting or new options in terms of the arsenal. It's been a lot of fun to follow the development. So, but with that in mind, obviously, if I know early access isn't for everyone, so if you are waiting for a finished game, it's one that I highly recommend wishlisting. All right, most likely containing parts, subsystems, or supplies. I'm kind of hoping that we start getting some better gear from these places. I know I'm sort of like just scrapping every single mech that I run into, but they're also not hanging on to. Like, I'm really looking for some assault rifles, and I've not. Oh, I love this map. I really had some trouble making it all work. Okay, so what are we dealing with here? Plasma launcher. Okay, so this thing's gonna hurt. Oh, medium machine gun, I think. I didn't even know that was in the game. Assault rifle. What does that look like? Okay, let's see if we can get this guy to surrender. An incendiary repeater. Oh my god, this is gonna suck. Okay. So the thing that's going to be tricky about the plasma launcher is that it's slow moving. So I actually have no idea when that thing's going to land. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to throw my shield out. Like, basically, the lance is going to do what it's supposed to do. It's just going to throw up its shield, follow me, boys! And that's except for the fact that half of my squad is women, so probably I should say. I don't know. Follow me, people doesn't quite have the same zip to it. But they're basically gonna, they're gonna absorb all of the hate that's coming towards us. And my job with the Sleipnir right now, first of all, is not to get hit in the crossfire. Okay, we're gonna be running hot. I don't like that move at all, actually. So I don't exactly want to go into this valley, but it does give me a chance to cool down. So. Just read the Kid Fox article. The fact that after reading it, it seemed to you that everything you concluded was obvious made it a very insightful article. Oh, thank you. The more obvious conclusions seem to someone who never thought about the topic discussed, the better the... Officially better than the Heidegger. I will admit I've not actually read Being in Time, but I know exactly what you're saying. I have a copy of Being in Time, but I was super into philosophy, but I tended to my limitations was actually what I noticed was I eventually sort of went down the rabbit hole of classics, and then of course it wasn't always philosophy. It was that'll also include lots of literature. I've not read like Galen or anything like that. I'm not exactly interested in classical medical practice or anything like that. But I really appreciate you saying that, because my view on a lot of this stuff is that it's quote unquote obvious, but like not in that the same way that some people who are really good at computers can be really intolerable to get computer help from. Because to them, it's, quote unquote, it's obvious. And as a result, you kind of get spoken to in a tone that isn't really helpful and doesn't really solve what you need. So I really do appreciate that, because you're absolutely right. Like, I don't really think there's anything in that article that is sort of deep unknown mysteries that are beyond mortal comprehension. But a large amount of data is basically, defining what your question is, what are you trying to find, and then trying to come up with an appropriate measure in terms of saying, well, what, did we get where we wanted to go? And sometimes, I definitely have a tendency to overvalue novelty, and so I always feel bad if I'm not like making some brilliant Nobel Prize winning contribution or something along those lines. But sometimes just simply being able to like let people know where they're going and show them what what they're capable of, what they're able to get from what they have already. Basically, if you can enable people to make the most of the materials that they already have, I feel like that's a worthwhile effort. So I'm just trying to find what my sniper can attack without. Okay. I don't like the fact that it's dragging into the next turn, but I don't think there's much I can do about that. So I'll keep the behemoth behind. I'd love to get some just kind of preliminary shots. I know it won't really do much, but how are we heat-wise? Yeah, I think I could probably try and... nope, not even close. So I guess the next question, I think I'm going to risk trying to capture the humors. Okay. The reason I mentioned Galen, by the way, I've been reading, I picked up, I perused, and will set out to read Mortimer Adler's the How to Read a Book. I may one day be able to graduate to how to read 2 books, but I know he's got a list of reading in the back, and I took a look at the back, and there's definitely Galen. I think there's like Newton and Principia Mathematica, and I'm like, seriously, a physics textbook? But it, like he makes the case in the like I get that he makes the case in terms of great books as to why that stuff is worth reading, but like obviously like sitting down and reading, you know, Isaac Newton is not exactly the sort of thing I would like. Sometimes I just want to read about fairies and elves, right? So that was a little bit of a surprise to see it on the list, but I guess that will make me a well-rounded individual. Oh god, this stuff looks so stylish. Okay, so let's see how my shield handle. Oh my god, they're really slow moving. Okay, so I gotta keep that shield up at least one more round. God, this game looks great. Okay, so is anybody coming after the... Yes. They're actually also going... They're trying to hit the... They're trying to hit the Hermes with heat. So there's one thing I can do to sort of make my life a little bit better. This isn't perfect cover, but it'll get me where I need to be. Like it'll be better than just standing there and taking it. Oh god, everybody's like just piling on. Okay, well I know how I'm dealing with this though. Maybe I need to dash in this case. Yeah, then I just burn up. Okay. I've really struggled with the melee to see what the overall effect is going to be, so... Let's hope for the best. And then I think probably my answer here is going to be to use the sniper rifle to just try and take out the things that are threatening the Hermes. All right, this is going to be a bit of a mess, but let's watch the magic. Oh, sorry, I haven't even finished this round with this. So, I mean, it's entirely possible that the Hermes just gets ripped apart on this one. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna be even craftier. So I'm actually gonna run out of the location for the start. Okay. So we'll wait it out here. Now we're back. So the big difference here... Okay, that's not going to work, so we will... Not quite going to deliver, but... So here we just sit and wait. It sucks to have to do, but, you know, it's what I got. And the idea is that I want to make sure that I am back to... Yeah, I want to make sure I'm back in the capture area. So I may not be able to avoid all of the damage, but I can at least stop myself from being pummeled by the full force. So Tilmenke says, that's the problem with much of philosophy. The harder to understand something is, the more effort it takes to understand it, which also means that people who have taken the time to struggle with it value said complicated text. Most good philosophy, in your opinion, will have you say, well, this is obvious. I knew that already, even if you did not, and will often be undervalued because of that. This is a tendency in philosophy that leads to bad writing being regarded as more profound. Absolutely. I mean, I think it's Derek Parfit who had said that, or no, actually that doesn't really seem like something Parfit would say. I feel, for some reason, I'm attributing it to Parfit, and I feel bad if I did, but the idea about like Kant being a good philosopher, but removing like. No, I don't think this was part of it now that I'm thinking. I'm trying to remember who said this, but like basically the problem is that now everyone can say, well, any badly written philosophy isn't good philosophy, and then somebody can say like, well, what about Kant? And it's kind of this get out of jail free card that and I mean, again, like most of these kinds of quotes, that's probably an oversimplification, but it is a challenge, and it's something that comes up a lot in econ because it's obviously mathematically dense, but I don't think it's proof by intimidation. Like, I really do think that the point of the mathematics is to bring clarity to the subject. And, if you're talking to an academic, so obviously if you're talking to PhD economists, yeah, you can kind of rely on people knowing some like real analysis or something. If you're communicating those views to a general audience, it's sort of on you to make sure that it's properly understood. And like, this is the thing, there's a lot of popular economists. One of the things is, I know, like, if you look, any of you who like reading writers like Naomi Klein, who's really not a fan of capitalism, like her favorite whipping boy are the Chicago Boys. And like, you reading her, you'd kind of assume that every economist like believes, is essentially a fanatical libertarian. That's definitely not true of the people I've studied under. And whatever you think of Milton Friedman's opinions, whether they're economic or his popular work, he was incredibly good at popularizing economic ideas, his particular way of thinking. He communicated in very direct language, ways that people could sort of understand. And more importantly, he was quite successful in getting policy change. So, the ideas of like a volunteer army in the United States is to my understanding, part of his influence in terms of making recommendations. Now, I am not a libertarian, so, I'm going to have disagreements with the man, but it is worth, the fact that I may not share his politics doesn't necessarily mean that I can't recognize the benefit of clear speaking, specifically in terms of getting important stuff done. Yeah, actually, so Cody X, I think probably that's going to come up a bit in Adler's book. But again, I don't want to. Oh, sorry, and sorry, Tillman K. I was talking about Kant, and you anticipated the comment, and I didn't. I was busy off on my own rant without before I saw the comment. So yeah, you anticipated where I was going with that. Anyways, let's watch the magic happen. I'm going to pause this one because there's going to be a lot of action. So we're going to try and keep the Hermes alive. We're still going to get the lance to do its protector role. The real magic is going to be when the Sleipnir comes in to try and save the day. Probably a little early on the slow-mo, but we'll run with it. Okay, that's good. So that's crashing now. This is the one I want to try and club and steal its assault rifle from, but whether it actually pulls it off, I don't know. Sleipnir's probably going to get a bit of it in the kneecaps. Oh, nope, they're going after the... Well, maybe. I think they are. We should get ready. All right. And that is why Phantom Brigade is awesome. So if you're wondering why I go for slow motion so much, it is so you can see that. Yeah, so the best way I could explain this game, if you like games like XCOM, sort of turn-based tactics games, that's the general kind of genre that you're operating in. If you want to compare it to games that you may have played, Frozen Synapse has a very similar style of. Oh, you know what? I also probably want to try and club this guy too. Yeah, everybody's going after the Sleipnir now. They're mad about what I did to their friends. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw up my shield because if I can get these parts, that works really well for me. So I'm gonna grab my shield and just like bully it into the corner. Now this is a little more delicate, so I'm gonna take the Sleipnir. As soon as they start shooting at me, I'm gonna dash just to try and minimize the effect. I have a feeling I'm gonna get hit by quite a few of these. I think I'm just out of range. You know, maybe the better answer is... Yes. Okay, so wait for them to start their descent. There we go, and we'll just whop them. So, Frozen Synapse had this idea where you would plan out your turn, and you are sort of micromanaging this very small window of time, like 30 seconds, let's say. And you would hit play, and then you'd see it all kind of run out in real time. The difference with Frozen Synapse was that it was you had knowledge of your own actions, but you had to try and predict what your enemy was going to do. And so in terms of the actual strategic decisions you're making, it's actually more appropriate to compare this to Into the Breach because you have perfect knowledge of what your enemy is going to do. This game, the story for the game is that you have an AI that will predict enemy actions 5 seconds into the future. Obviously, you are not seeing the movement that happens in response to me colliding with these things with a shield or a mace. What you are seeing is what the pilots are going to do, not what they intend to do, not necessarily what's going to happen on the battlefield. And so again, this game has this really nice little system where you spend your time sort of building up your turn. So you've got your 5 seconds, and it's like editing a video, and you get this wonderful payoff in that when you hit the play button. You get to see just all of the really great animation and the art style and such. Oh, let me see. That'd be confusing. Oh, Tilman sorry. I apologize. I'm just really bad at at most of the. I'm really bad at the different at most of the names that come into chat anyway. But I appreciate the camel case to help me understand. Sorry, I just got a quick message. Aperture, it says shame Frozen Synapse didn't have better multiplier time controls game in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Yeah, I did like the fact that there was sort of the I did like the fact that there was how'd I put it? I did like that there was like asynchronous, like I had it on my tablets, or tablet. I have one tablet, and I did like the fact that, you know, I didn't need to hang around, but you're right. Like, I think one of the other things for me too was it got to a point where like people were really desperate for a multiplayer game. And so like every time you'd log on, someone would like challenge you. And I'm like, I don't really feel like it. And I kind of know if it's with a stranger, I don't have a clear, like, I really don't know what this experience is going to be like. So I loved playing it with someone that I knew because I could sort of rely on them to, you know, do their turn and, you know, be decent to play with. But you're right. Like it would have been nice to have a little more, I think. But yeah, so the thing is that it's really hard not to talk about Frozen Synapse with this game because of the replay. But I really do need to stress it's the replay that gives that angle. I think if you're looking for what it's like to play this game, I do think Into the Breach is a better example in terms of the decisions that you're making. Although, I mean, let's face it, Phantom Brigade is its own thing, and I should be talking about it as its own thing. It just happens to be very convenient to share with people some comparable experiences. Okay, I think we can do this in real time. There's nothing too special going on, so let's watch what happens with the... All right. Oh, no! I just destroyed the... He is already concussed. I didn't realize the sniper would do that much. Okay, well... This is the fun part of the job. Oops. Still look cool. And then let's get the behemoth down to... I mean, they'll only really be able to fire missiles. We'll keep the Hermes in place. Yeah. I just kind of want to see what happens to this poor tank. Oh, who doesn't have orders? The Hermes, that's fine. The bridge is going to be in the way, but it's the best I can do, I think. Yeah, I thought we might be able to get more than one run. All right, Sierra 2 on the field. What's taking you so long? Surround them and finish them off. 6 new contacts. Okay, I actually kind of need to take this a little more seriously then. Shotgun should put an end to that nonsense. Where are they arriving? Okay, I see 3 here, so that's 2 mechs and a tank. All right, they're all on this side. So the Hermes is actually in a pretty good spot to reply. I'm going to set them up on some high ground. Does Phantom Brigade take a particular inspiration from an established mech-heavy universe that you might be familiar with? No, I know... I know... Well, I mean, there's been a lot of really good mech games to come out recently. But... Oh, actually, sorry. If it's a question of inspiration, I suspect probably everything with mechs in it have been a source of inspiration. But it's a, like, as far as the game is concerned, it's a new IP. But I mean, BattleTech, BattleTech had a really good game. So I would have to assume that there's at least some lessons that are taken from that. You know, I have not seen, people reference Gundams. I've not seen the show, so I can't, you know, I'm just going to assume that, that's an appropriate comparison. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard. In my opinion, it's kind of hard to have mechs in a game and not say that there hasn't, you know, been an inspiration from giant stompy robots elsewhere. But I don't know the extent to which certain certain properties were a bigger influence than the other. Battle Gundam 40K. Yeah, I guess the one thing I can say is that they're probably not like 40K Titans. So far as I can tell, these are probably more like battle. So the funny thing about BattleTech is that when you look at other mech games, generally the BattleTech mechs are kind of small. So I would say that probably the size of these things is about the size of like a BattleTech, you know, kind of setup in terms of just the cockpit where the person's located, the influence that they have. Like BattleTech, Melee is such a huge part of that game, so I feel like that's probably, I think that's a pretty reasonable point for inflation. But hey, Debauchery Now, I love that name again, by the way. I do not know how many, is it C creds or C bills? Either way, I don't have a price, but that would be good for the good question for the Discord. And thanks for stopping by, Debauchery Now. I'm actually streaming later because I started later, but that's not necessarily a bad thing for folks who might have slightly different hours than my usual ones. Okay, so they're going straight for the Hermes. There's no big surprise there. I'm curious about, it looked like one was about to crash into the other, but that was probably a misreading. So one thing I should sort of say, current objective, all supplies extracted. You have now control the site, extract your units, or eliminate remaining enemies. So far as I can tell, eliminating the remaining enemies does get you more stuff. I mean, I can just try and run through to the exit, but it would be kind of fun to try and you know, properly take these guys on. This is also a really interesting one because if I can punch through that armor, these guys are going to go up like a Roman candle. I've always been very scared about trying to equip these kinds of outfits because I'm just scared I'm gonna wipe out my pilots. So these are definitely an ultra heavy. Oh wait, didn't I get an ultra heavy in the previous? I guess I didn't. Let's see if we can nab that one. All right. So the sniper is going to be earning their pay today. And at this point, I'm just going to point at whatever I can and get as many shots off as possible. This is probably going to overheat me, but I don't see the warning, so I'm going to run with it. Good lord. Something ripped into the left arm. Okay, so the Sleipnir is really, really far away. I probably should have paid better attention to the time it would take to get things in, but I am set up for a good hit on this guy. I think for the Hermes, my best bet is to probably just straight up run away, because it looks like everybody wants to beat the crap out of them. And they're fast moving enough that they'll be able to sort of run back and fight another day. Okay, so I run around the edge, the fire starts coming in. I might be able to have a slightly more elegant solution if I try and create a friendly fire incident. But, oh, actually it looks like there's a bunch of people trying to hit the lance as well. Okay, now that opens some interesting possibilities. So who's trying to... Well, one thing I could probably do to make life a little easier for myself is just move off to the side. So who's pointing... Okay. So, one costly part of this decision is going to be my lance kind of takes some effort to get where they need to be. But see what happens with that incendiary round. Actually, I'm gonna should build this turn slightly differently. I feel like I can do better. So what I'm trying to do is take all these incendiary rounds and have them fired directly into the back of the enemy unit. So I think here I'm actually gonna wait out the attacks just to see how much chaos I can inflict Okay, so at the 3.5 second mark, that's kind of where all the advantage to that stops. I'll do a dash to sort of make up for lost time, and then we'll walk in. So I don't actually think I'm under threat from any of these things, but this is really just about creating some chaos. Oh, my typing's atrocious, so I really appreciate that, though. It's cool to be appreciated. Like, I was talking about stream sizes with someone a while ago, because it's it's a thing that a lot of smaller creators will be really conscious about. And I mean, it doesn't help that Twitch kind of puts a lot of effort into making you feel like you need to have the maximum amount of growth. But especially because I was talking about getting some less than friendly YouTube comments, and like again, I got to be honest on this one here. The video that it's on is a bad video. I did not do a good job on that stream, but obviously that doesn't mean like the level of vitriol that video attracts. I really think is like it's really frustrating. Like I just don't understand why somebody not doing a good video on the internet kind of justifies that kind of behavior. And I generally, like, I don't brood about it, but it is the sort of thing that can really like lower my enthusiasm, especially at the start of a stream or something like that. And so I do like to take the time and recognize like your really kind comments. That sort of stuff really helps in terms of making sure that the number doesn't necessarily matter. Having the appreciation, if there's a small group of people who like your stuff, I sometimes think that that's better than having a video that for whatever reason the YouTube algorithm really likes recommending, but just kind of results in scorn. So, okay, I think we got to do this from the enemy's point of view because we're going to see some friendly fire. Oh man, that was awesome. Stop, for the love of God. So this is what the game looks like in real time, by the way. So unfortunately, the attack that the Hermes was going to do didn't happen because the sniper was really effective at shooting out the guy's legs. So Sleipnir's in position. Wait a minute. I wasn't expecting them to be here, but that's fine. Let's just make sure that I think I'm going to go for the curling attack just in case something nasty happens. I might be able to get away with another double, but it's doubtful. Well... God, this is such a risk, but it's one I kind of want to try. So we're definitely going to do slow-mo on that one. Good lord. This is why I don't want to stand in front of an ultra-heavy. Okay, missiles being... Well, I don't need to worry about the missiles because we'll already have the Sleipnir whacking him with the... Wait, how do you get over here? No, that's still the same guy. Wow. Guy's got some legs on him. Okay. I see you have a shotgun too. Alright. So as soon as they come around the corner, we should blast them. I think for me, moving forward is the better call here. So what I'm gonna do in response to this attack is just to throw up the shield. And then I've learned how devastating my sniper is, so we're just gonna keep kind of firing at anything that seems like even a potential excuse me, potential shot. Excuse me, a potential hit. The problem is everybody's behind concrete now. So actually what I'm going to do is a secondary attack. Let's lob missiles at the guy just in case. So I'm going to be running really hot into the next round, but let's see where it goes. So clearly the playmaker is going to be the Sleipnir. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of trees in the way. Let's watch the magic happen. I'll try and move the camera accordingly, but oh, the Hermes, right? Who hates the Hermes this turn? Yeah, there's still quite a bit of hate, actually. So I'm going to do something a little weird here. I'm going to run them around sort of the far edge. So what this should do is that this should actually still allow me to get some shots off on the unit. So the collision's going to happen at this level here. So I should be able to get an attack on whatever remains. So the important thing to remember here is I'm not attacking the unit at these positions. I'm attacking the unit where it falls, which will be probably around here. Let me just make sure they're not carrying anything. Well, the sniper rifle might be a nice upgrade, but I think taking... Well, no. You know what? I'll be a little more gentle because I would like to try and take some of this stuff as scrap. Okay. Again, we'll focus on the Sleipnir this turn. I'm very lucky that we're not relying on that as cover, because that's going to go away pretty quick. Oh, they're going after the Hermes. Oh, this is going to suck in a minute. Run for your life, my friend. All right. I hope this is such a big play. This is the greatest game ever. All right, what are we looking at? So we did some damage to the striker. It's not quite enough. Nope, they got a missile off. Okay, only 4 barrier damage, even though it was the ultra heavy that was targeting them. So that's pretty good. We did get hit by a big missile, which I sort of let slip by. This guy is going to be causing me some troubles, but for now, I think we'll feel pretty good about that round. Okay, so this is pretty good news for me because they're not going to be suppressing my units with the ultra heavy. So we get the moment I've been waiting for the whole time, which is... Oh, thank you so much for the subscription, Tillman. Or Tillman Inc., sorry. Thank you, guys. I know, you know, obviously subscriptions cost money, and I really you guys, look, you guys give up your time to go to work, or however you make your money. There's stuff that you could get the fact that you're spending it on me to kind of support me as I'm doing this sort of stuff, that really does mean a lot. I really appreciate it. And actually, particularly, again, I really want to stress what a pleasure it's been to be doing a lot of the Brace Yourself stuff, because it's actually, because of a lot of the gifted subs, a lot of the subs that people have been giving while I've been playing these games, they actually have allowed me a new emote slot. I have no idea when that's going to happen. I don't want to get people's hopes up for an emote, because it is going to take me a while to get that in place. But I do want you to. I would like you to know the effect that you're having. It's not, it's not something that just kind of goes into a void somewhere. It is something that I always appreciate. It's never something I want to take for granted, and I fully appreciate it. Even just on Twitch itself, there are a lot of different sources kind of competing for that attention or for that money. So the fact that you voluntarily take that on, it's something not lost on me in terms of what that means, and I do want to make sure that I communicate my gratitude. Rouge Light Girl, how you doing? I feel Tillman's fine. Okay, excellent. Feel like it's been a while. How have you been? I can't remember if you said you were due for vaccination soon or not, or I might be misremembering the conversation. Anyways, I hope you're doing well. I think I saw you. I saw you like a tweet, and I remember thinking, it's like, oh, I wonder what's going on. I hope you're doing well. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm misremembering. Misremembering then. You're in New Zealand, right? I'm trying to decide whether or not throwing up the shield is the right call, or if I want to try and use defenses. The sniper rifle is a pretty vicious little attack at 1452, but it does rely on long range, so the closer I get, the less likely it is to be a problem. And I am going to at least be able to take out the unit with... Yeah, okay, so this is the thing. It's like they're both coming after me with like long range weapons that I don't really need to worry all that much about. So I'm going to throw out my shield to deal with the incoming fire. And oddly enough, I'm actually going to shotgun this guy because I've already got the Hermes sort of doing some hits. So if I'm lucky, they'll get hit in the legs. Now, the big question as always, is there something that my sniper can do? Because the lance is now blocking... Oh, yes, there is. Hopefully we can get sort of a preemptive strike on the shotgunner. So one challenge I'm running into here is I'm starting firing right around the time that they're sort of moving left to right, which is not the best for aim, but I should be able to follow up. Not even close. Okay. You know what? We'll wait a little bit later in the turn for that then. So they'll have their back turned to us. We should hopefully get some concussive damage as part of the deal. And I think the Sleipnir's earned a break. I think we're going to whop the... Something about this game is very pretty. I don't have any idea what's going on. Well, let me try and give you a quick summary. So you are playing sort of this insurgency. The trailer has the kind of an image of the invasion. The tutorial also sort of shows the invasion as well. But you are a squad of mechs. You have got a special technology that will give you knowledge of your enemy's actions 5 seconds in advance. That's like you have definite knowledge that they will perform those actions. And essentially what you do is you build your turn in 5-second chunks. Your actions are to move, wait, use one of two items that you have equipped, dash, which can mean vertical or horizontal. Well, there's always some horizontal component to the move, but you can also move up and down. Or you can eject. I've never ejected in this game. But your the equipment that you have, they just keep adding more and more in the game. So for instance, I've got my lance, my big brutal bruiser. It's got a big awesome shield on it, which takes, you know, over 1,000 points of damage. I think it does up to 2,000 points of damage. And a shotgun, the only thing is it moves slow. The rest of my squad is actually very different from how most people play. I've got like a very nimble but very fragile squad. So my Hermes is the fastest unit I've had in the game. It moves, I think, something like 28 units compared to the, I think, 13 that my my lance moves now. So it sort of runs around. It has an assault rifle, so it can move and shoot really well. I've got, I called this the Behemoth. Now, it's really inappropriate to call this the Behemoth, because this was originally supposed to be, I want to make the heaviest mech I can. I love the fact that for whatever reason, the model for the missile launcher is not there. So he's firing missiles out of his finger guns. I think I've seen that once before. I just think that's really cute. Can an ejected person capture an enemy unit? No, ejection is purely to save your pilots. They're going to be adding a big progression system for the pilots, so it's basically to stop you from dying. So the Behemoth was named back when it used to be a big, strong mech that I had, but basically it's my sniper unit, so it has a really long-range weapon, and then when I have a little bit more of a close encounter, I've got a missile launcher. Missile launchers were added, I think, 2 updates ago. They're really fun. But yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of things you can do in terms of unit composition and such. The one that's really been making the big spectacular plays has been the Sleipnir, which is one of the ones I've had at the beginning, and that's become a melee unit. I changed it so it's heavier than it used to be, but it's got this big, beautiful mace that it just whacks stuff with. In addition to the fact that the developers of this are clearly very talented at, you know, modeling and animation, you also get, you know, beautiful sunsets and, you know, I don't know, just the kind of, it's not exactly golden hour, but it's close. It's just a very photogenic game, so. MechWarrior demo, is it MechWarrior 2? Because I've actually found out there's a lot of different BattleTech games. So like there's this super old one called like Crescent Hawk's Revenge, and I kind of want to see what some of these old BattleTech games were like, because the Harebrained Schemes one was really good. But I did not realize that there were BattleTech computer games like around the time that was first becoming sort of a known property. So anyways, I think we're ready to go. I do want to see the Sleipnir do its thing, but I don't know if that's the most exciting. You know what, we'll slow-mo it and we'll see everything going. I think everybody can tolerate that now. So again, we're running around the edges here. We do want to see what the Behemoth does with its sniper rifle, but that's going to take a while. Yeah, it is actually going to be the Sleipnir that does the big move to begin with, so we'll just turn our back to all the other action going on. So they're running hot because of oh, it doesn't show us the heat. Did I miss an attack coming on? Ooh. I'm glad they missed. I also don't have trees in the way, so you really get to see this one deliver. Please tell me that didn't miss. Ah, oh, that is so frustrating. I really thought we had that. Anyways, this is all bouncing off the shield. We didn't quite deliver. Looks like we broke apart. So they're out. They've lost their weapon, and we should be shotgunning them to either a surrender or a finish. Oh no, they're totally done now. Yeah, they're done. So now you can see clearly why I do not like equipping my units with this stuff. Okay, so oh my god, oh, the Hermes is in a world of pain if I don't get this dealt with. So you need to run behind a building as soon as humanly possible, sir. Okay, I'll set up the shield because there's no point in taking unnecessary damage. Question is, do I want to absorb all of the hit? I don't think it makes sense to absorb all the hits, so let's we'll just follow him and keep blasting him with a shotgun every time we cool down. Wow, they're really fast moving. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to use the shield again then. So this is almost certainly going to be overkill because, of course, my sniper is just really waiting for the opportunity to wreck this guy's day. So let's I'll wait till they're moving. I'm going to keep the Hermes here just as a safety measure in case something gets screwed up with the Sleipnir attack. So there's a little bit of waste in this turn, but it's really important that this be dealt with. Oh no! Oh no! Leave my friend alone! Holy crap! That made up for the last round screw up. Alright, this should be the last one. That shield's almost done, 133 left. What? How did you miss? Oh, that's a pity. So I gotta angle everything. Okay, so we're waiting on the sniper to deliver. Oh, this one might connect. What? Okay, that weird movement it made, I'm almost certain there's something... I think there's something messed up with the collisions. That's fine. That's definitely happened before. I'll wait for this to be done, but I think I might even be able to see it in the log. We know we're gonna win. It's just gonna take one turn longer than I was expecting. Move origin is not... Well, that might be it, actually. So if it thinks the unit is somewhere else... Yeah. I mean, I don't know for sure. But I think what happened, whatever they're using to sort of do the collisions, I think it wasn't actually registering where the unit properly was. But again, we get to pile on this guy. So there's clearly no scenario in which we lose a pilot or this round. So at this point here, it would have been nice to try and get the you know, it would have been nice to try and get the the gear. I actually think in this case, because the lance is the target, I'm not gonna just kind of walk around like an idiot and take everything in the face. So I'll set up my shield in prep, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get the rest of the team in position. Okay, I don't want to collide with my own guy, so yeah, this is fine. So still probably overkill, but we'll run this in full speed just to see. Okay, well, if we can't find where this guy's model is, maybe we do have to retreat. I wonder if missiles will have more luck. I guess I don't need to hide behind cover, so let's see if we can do something else here to... the other thing I want to try is, let's see if I can get the Sleipnir in to... Can't get 3. Okay, so they're just still focusing on the lance. I won't worry too much about that. So the fact that they're going after the lance, which is behind the end, makes me think that like the actual collisions are happening somewhere in this side of the map. Unfortunately, you can't just direct your so. If I was like, I don't know, if I was in charge of like debugging something or something like that, I didn't, like, I had the knowledge that I have right now. If I had the capacity to direct fire, I'd basically just kind of direct fire all over the map to see, you know, I'm assuming at some point I'd collide. Unless, of course, it's like underneath the map, in which case I'm sort of screwed. In reality, of course, if it's Unity, you'd be able to, you know, if you're playing within Unity, you'd be able to see exactly where all the components are or something like that. But my guess here is that whatever is used to register collisions, because like everything's modeled in the game here, right? You've got like this building did not start hollowed out by the ultra cannon. You know, you can sort of see the damage here. I guess my Hermes absorbed all the fire. But like you can see where there's been battles, and you can see where terrain is destroyed. And I think what's happened here is that whatever is used to determine this thing getting hit, I think it thinks it is somewhere else other than where it really is. And I don't know if there's a way of forcing it to do that. But what I'm doing right now, because I would prefer to be able to destroy everything and get the loot rather than just run away, I'm just going to try an array of different weapons. And I actually think in the case of melee, that might be something to jostle it out, because obviously the movement's working fine, and so it's probably going to try and register collisions. Or sorry, register collisions between units. Is there a console command? That's a good question. Not that I know of. This I sort of found by mistake before. So if there is, they've not shared it. But to be honest with you, I've run into these kinds of errors pretty infrequently. There was one time where an enemy fell through the map and I couldn't kill them. Other than that, I kind of feel like the game has mostly behaved in the way that it's supposed to. Which is, you know, not to, obviously I don't intend to be an apologist for bugs. Like, obviously it's something that needs to get fixed. But I'm not like I'm highlighting the bug, but I also think that if I'm going to talk about bugs in the context of a stream, I don't want to give the impression that the issues are more severe than they are. So anyways, we'll try with missiles. Hopefully the missiles will land this round. Failing that, we'll see if the Sleipnir can land a hit, and if nothing else works, we'll just extract and call it a day. Wait, am I taking that long? Okay, well we definitely... Okay, well there you go. We definitely hit him with something. So the burst was successful. And, okay, we've got an ejection happening, so we'll just wait. That means we can take an intact mech. Now that's kind of interesting. Okay, but no, the missiles did wind up hitting it, so. So yeah, it was a little silly at the end there, but we got him. All hostiles eliminated, site under control. 60-second duration, 4,508 damage taken, 15,906 damage inflicted, no units lost, no subsystems on site, 154 actions planned, 2,605 meters traveled, 8 units destroyed, and 333 supplies on site. So supplies right now don't quite do enough for me to feel too precious about them, but I was saying that about Industries of Titan before, and clearly that changed very quickly. So let's see what we got. We got another plasma launcher. I tend not to use them, but it's nice to have upgraded gear just in case. We've got a new heavy shotgun, so that might be something that we get from that might be something we can equip on the Lance. Oh, we finally got an ultra heavy. Man, I totally need to find a mech to stick this thing on. Do I spend tonight? No, I should probably wrap up. Next time I play Phantom Brigade, I'm going to make a dedicated mech to running with a Vulcan. Like there is no ambiguity with the Vulcan. The Vulcan requires both hands. You don't have shields. You don't have anything but a nightmarish cannon. Okay, we got a lock sniper rifle. That may be an upgrade for the Behemoth. We did get the incendiary repeater too. This was a very good day for loot. Okay, not quite as good because they're not as special, but we'll salvage it. Tell you what, I'll run to the end of the salvage. So we've got our repairs happening right now. This is going to be the wrap up of the stream. So if you have any questions, any comments on the game, I'll try and cover some of the data stuff I talked about a little bit earlier if people wanted. I know some of you have just recently arrived, and I apologize for not going longer, but I did start a couple of hours later than I had intended. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning for me, and I needed that nap. I've actually been having a little trouble sleeping, so I want to be a little more disciplined in terms of my bedtimes. I wonder if Brian got a chance to see some of the. I really hope. I really hope some of the flashier moments. I know. I'm really sorry, Rouge Light Girl. I want to try and start broadcasting on the weekends again. Okay, actually, here's a little housekeeping for you. I have really wanted to bring back weekend streams, but because I am also doing YouTube videos, weekends are usually the time that I can record them. Now, I've also learned that for the Elder Scrolls videos, I usually need it takes YouTube 3 or 4 days to process the full resolution version. God, I'm so slow at playing Stellaris, but I really like the game. But yeah, I've been thinking about ways that I can try and get my recording done in a timely fashion, just like try and get back to trying to do weekend streams at hours that are different for other people. And for a while, Friday was like working out for that, because Friday was like I'd usually start streaming later on Fridays. And the problem with that is that it started happening that I would like try and get some work done after the Friday cast. And what would happen there is that it would push my bedtime, and like all of a sudden I'm going to bed at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning on Friday. And then like either I lose my Saturday and my chance to do all the other stuff that I wanted to get done, or I would like try and power through it. And then all of a sudden it's like Sunday, I'm trying to go to sleep, and I can't, I can't get a good night's sleep. I am trying to get a lot better at making sure I get a proper night's sleep, because it's been over a year of lockdown. I have been really good at keeping indoors, but I'm not walking as much as I used to, and I like walking. It's where I get good ideas. And I'm, Kodiak Samurai, asked me about my professional situation. It's improving, but it's not as good as it could be. And one of the things that has help make it good is that, I've been able to do these fun little side projects and get really kind comments like what all of you offered. So I'm trying to find those balances, and generally the weekend is where I get all of that done. So I really do want to try. I really do want to try and get a little bit better for this stuff. But it is helpful to know, like, especially if the same people sort of keep coming in right around the end. I do want to recognize that people are making the effort to catch the stream. And of course, I sort of pulled the rug out from everyone when I moved from Vancouver, which admittedly is a few years ago now. But clearly, the people who were used to me streaming 3 hours earlier got the short end of the stick. And like, I had friends who were out in Ontario, in Vancouver, and I was always pissed off at them because like they'd never play games with me or anything like that, and it was, or like when I played with them, it would be over early. And of course, now that I know what it's like to be on the other side of that 3-hour shift, it's like, yeah, because it's 2:00 in the morning and you got to get stuff done. So, but I appreciate it. Oh, thank you, Kodiak Samurai. But yeah, so it's, again, I don't want to make this negative. I really appreciate you hanging out, and I very often think about what I can do to try and do more to share. But I also need to acknowledge the fact that I am falling behind on some stuff that I've wanted to do for a while. Actually, Brian on the Rocks, who was here a little bit earlier. Actually, with that in mind, I know he was early on in the stream, so for those of you that didn't hear me shout him out, first of all, I would encourage you to check the VOD, see the early thing that I said about him, because he's a really great guy. But he is a developer on Apex Legends. So, and he's really good at interacting with the audience and talk about things. I'll actually tell you too. So like, I don't necessarily have ambitions to be a game like designer or something. It would, I think, be really cool to work in, to work with game data, particularly sort of the stuff that's either coming from live services or sort of the telemetry that comes from a within game, like the actions that are taken in game, because I think there's some really interesting things you can do with that. It's weird that policy analysis seems really appropriate for this, because of course, just like if you're trying to decide a tax rate, that people are going to react to the policy that you set. So you need to model people's responses inside of it. And so weirdly enough, a lot of econ stuff that I've learned might actually be really appropriate in a game context. But even then, right, like that was just because I was looking at other potential options. It doesn't, like, it's not an overriding ambition where I'm looking to completely transition out of my existing job into games. It's just it's an option that I've been keeping open. But with that in mind, I have sort of taken up Unity and played around a little bit, because one of the things is that if I can't get, data elsewhere, generating my own gives me some practice. And Brian has actually been very generous with his knowledge in terms of some basics that I've been running into, in terms of getting up and running. And again, like, obviously this is his. I mean, clearly, Apex is not made in Unity. I think they use some of their server tools. But again, like, he works in games. I'm sure he gets asked the question, how do I work in games, a lot. Like, there's going to be the same set of questions. And, it's kind of like if you're really good at computers and your family members are always asking you to help out, to solve a computer problem or something like that. Like, he's under no obligation to answer that stuff, but he's always been very generous with his time and really helpful on that. So that's why I wanted to take the minute, go through. If it works the way your boyfriend's plan, you might be moving to Vancouver. Oh, that's awesome. I loved Vancouver. If I had a way of getting back there, I would be really happy. One thing about my current job is it does look like there's a larger transition to work from home. So it's possible I may be able to move out of the capital, which is mixed, because there are also some other opportunities that are not in my department that I might want to consider. And again, not game related. So I wouldn't have to make a hard decision as to where I actually wanted to base myself. But Vancouver's wonderful. Like, I really hope that works out. I mean, I understand New Zealand's great too, but yeah, if I hope, first of all, it sounds like there's reasons other than Vancouver that make that a desirable outcome. But it's, I really hope that turns out for you, because I have incredibly fond memories of Vancouver. Anyways, let's do the event. While you pick over the bones of the battle looking for parts to salvage, one of your pilots calls out to you. "Look at what we found," he says. In front of him, an injured enemy pilot lies amongst the rubble. One side of his face is badly burnt, and his leg is trapped under a heavy piece of concrete. "What shall we do, boss?" the pilot asks. The pilot looks at you, panic in his eyes. "Capture him. He might have information if you gain his trust. 20 supply. He may prove useful." Yeah. I don't know if this does anything. I don't think we've seen anything kind of happen out of the capture. I kind of want to know if we've got a very large prison in the mobile base. Oh, you know what? I'm actually gonna run through the full salvage. Oh no, I won't. Because then I won't know about the new gear. So I will actually let I will let the salvage finish next stream. So, but we've come to the end of our time. I've been really enjoying We Happy Few. I've not been able to. Hop on that recently, but I really appreciate the time you all spent with me, especially when I screw up and don't start at a good hour. I think it's, I know there's like a cost that I pay in terms of viewership for that, but I actually I really appreciate that you... I know there's like a... I hate hearing my voice. But I really appreciate that you folks stuck around. Let's just see if we can find somebody live right now. All right, so I noticed that Malgalath has been playing Phantom Brigade around the time that I finish. So I don't always get to stay and hang around, but he seemed to be nice enough. And more importantly, I want to make sure. I'm also curious if anybody's streaming Industries of Titan. No, okay, interesting. I'm really happy that there's at least somebody that I can host at the end of tonight. So let's go say hi to Malgalath. Oh, that is not the right account. I apologize. Let's try that again. Yeah, please do stick around. I'd love to, I always kind of feel like if you can give an incentive to streamers to do the game more, as in it's like, you're going to get a host if you're doing Phantom Brigade, that's always a really good way to make sure that more people are streaming the game. So far as I can tell, Malgalath is a little bit further in the game than I am. It definitely feels like he's been able to complete the game before. So I hope you guys have a good time there. If you're looking for my stuff, I will be back on Friday with some Hollow Knight. Monday, we're going to be back to Stellaris, and then I think next week I'm probably going to be doing Industries of Titan. So I know there's going to be a little while we wait for the Vulcan canon, but I feel like we can, absence makes the heart grow fonder. As always, I'll kind of decide at the moment. Oh man, there's also IntelliGame online. I'm rating Malgalath though, so either way though. I hope you guys have a good night. I will see some of you Friday, some of you Monday. For those of you here for the Brace Yourself stuff, I'll see you in a week. Please be good to one another and enjoy Malgalath's stream.